Councilmember Ashafi.
Here.
Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Martin. Here. Councilmember Manica. Here. Council Pro Tem Robinson. Present.
Excuse me, point of order before we even get started. Mrs. Stolarski cannot sit right here. She's not a city council member.
She's a treasurer.
Treasurers don't.
She is a citizen. She should be sitting in the audience.
Cannot sit here. She can't sit. She's not city council. You have never seen a treasurer sit right here. And I don't understand.
Sit over here on the wall
This
if
is
you want to.
Ms. Manica, you can request that the bailiff remove her.
She's already, she's moving.
Are you serious?
A treasurer, she's not the treasurer.
Oh, that's not
Okay,
necessary.
beside that point, let's just start here. Let's start
That's not
here.
necessary.
She's not city council. Point of order.
Yes. Childish all day long. Can we get through one meeting where everybody act like they got some damn sense? I don't get it.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
No, okay, listen, nothing.
That's the meeting.
Ms. Robinson.
Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Excuse me, Council Pro Tem? Council Pro Tem?
Yes.
I just wanted to alert council, there was an email that came in this afternoon from the director asking that item 8E be removed from the agenda as the purchasers are not ready to proceed. So it would be my recommendation that if council, through the approval process, that item be removed. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Okay, so AE is removed.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, Madam Pro Tem, I'm concerned about, item 5. Open bid.
What's your concern?
Did we not just get 4 open bids, 1, 2, 3 council meetings ago?
So you're asking for that?
Yeah, I'm actually, did we not receive 4 bids 3 weeks ago for lawn service? And now there's a new bid before us here, and I want to know who authorized that or who put that back into the paper to reopen that bid after we received bids already for lawn care services.
Madam Clerk, can you answer that? Mr. Burgess said to re-advertise. Is Mr. Burgess on the line?
Okay, I would like to have 5 removed. Yes, I'm making a motion to have item 5 removed from the agenda.
Do we have a second?
We haven't approved the agenda yet.
We can't approve the agenda until we remove the item.
That's not true. You have to approve the agenda.
Okay, fine.
With your amendment.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 5.
And you also need to add the other ones that the lawyer asked.
Okay. So his got removed before we approve the agenda, but we have to approve the agenda to remove mine. See the hypocrisy in that? See the problem in that? He just removed the item,
No.
no problem, but the moment I ask for item to be removed, it's a problem.
He requested, it wasn't.
I didn't remove the item, Councilman. I'm asking the
Same thing.
council as part of the approval process to remove item 8E, in addition to, I guess, your item 5. So the motion would be a motion to approve agenda with the elimination of item 5 and 8E. And that would be the motion that would need a second and then a vote.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 5 and 8E.
Before, is there a discussion? Can I have a discussion on that or a comment? So the comment is that if we go back, I want to say that city council actually said that we was opening up for other bids.
I don't
Because
remember
we
that.
didn't, because we did not have the bids that we had, we didn't like them. I'm gonna say it that way, or we thought maybe we could get better bids. So it's up to you guys to remove it.
Mm-mm.
Voted to remove it, I don't really care.
That's not
But
what
if
we
you go
discussed.
back, excuse me, and I'm not sure, but I'm gonna ask you very nicely, Mr. Ashad, to take your level down and definitely not talk to me that way.
Excuse me, I was talking the way I normally talk. It wasn't directed at you.
So,
I pointed out a statement of fact that every time that we attempt to remove something, to
And
do
you were
something,
incorrect.
it's met with a brick wall.
and you were incorrect.
Okay,
because it
but
was
y'all
not
want
taken
things
off.
onto the agenda and off of the agenda as you see fit with no problem.
So let's start here. Why don't you accept the fact that you were incorrect?
No,
And that that he did not get it taken off. He asked for it to be taken off. So let's start
it's the
there.
same thing.
Let's
I
start
asked for
Let's
this
start
item
with
to be removed.
accountability. Let's
I
start.
asked for this item to be removed.
So is there a motion on the floor?
It is.
There's 4 seconds on the floor.
The motion is, I make a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 5 and 8E.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Councilmember Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I know it. I know you do.
Now, can I get a motion for the approval of the regular meeting minutes, May 6, 2024?
Support with question.
She need a motion.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion.
I move
I move to approve the regular meeting minutes, May 6 with question.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Question.
Okay, so this veto, I'm a little confused on why this veto. I read number 1, it says the bottom requirements are inconsistent with the charter. But I didn't see any inconsistencies from what I read from section 4A. So I'm really unclear on why it was vetoed.
You said 4-8.
Or 8. So it says the surety bond, the council may require any officer or employee to give, keyword here is give, a bond to be approved by the city attorney. Did you get a chance to approve it or
That item's being handled by Mr. Bosnick.
Mr. Bosnick?
Yes.
Mr. Bosnick.
He was at the last meting, Councilwoman.
Yeah, I do remember that. So would it be in by Mr. Bosnick? Because I know he never answered the questions that I addressed. Last city council. So Bosnick is approving it. So in such sum as the council determines, the bond shall be conditioned upon the faithful and proper performance of the duties of the office or employment concerned. All official bonds shall be corporate, security bonds and premiums thereof shall be paid by the city, so the city should pay. The bonds of all officers and employees shall be filed with the clerk. So my understanding is once the bond is done, the clerk is the one that gets the bond, correct? Is that my understanding? No, just Yes, you don't know?
I'm not certain.
Got it, okay. So, no, nobody knows, okay.
Mhm.
Except the clerk shall, the bond shall be filed with the treasurer. So how is a bond filed with the treasurer? And she's not bonded, this is not making sense.
So I
Hold
don't
on,
need to.
hold on, let me
interrupt.
finish. Let me finish. Any officer or employee who is covered by a blanket surety bond, which I understand from what I read, a blanket surety bond covers more than one person, correct?
So I get all the things that you're asking, but right now, we just approving the minutes. Let me explain.
Portion that was
Wait,
asked.
let
With
me
discussion.
finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. We're approving the minutes, and the minutes, are we saying that this happened last council meeting? And if it did happen, then the minutes are correct, or is it something wrong, misstated? That did not, no, that did not happen in those minutes. You get what I'm saying? It did not happen in that meeting. Did everything in these minutes happen in that council meeting? That's what we're approving. We can go back in during the council meeting or during your council affairs or during a workshop and ask the explanation for all of those things, because what you're asking, he's not gonna be able to answer. Nobody's gonna answer right now. So.
Is it
when
that
we're-
they're not
when
going to
we're-
answer or they're unable to answer?
When we're approving the minutes, we're just approving that they're correct.
Hell
You know
no,
what I'm
they're not
saying?
correct.
And those things happen in that meeting.
So no, they don't seem correct. Let me finish reading. So I ended with the blanket surety bond need not be bonded individual for the purpose of the qualifying for office. So that's what the charter says. No, I don't think these are correct. So that's why I am going to withdraw my motion. I do not approve.
And I take back my support.
So I just, in this discussion, still wanna know, are you understand? Maybe I'm not making it clear. The minutes, did that happen? Did that happen? Did that veto happen? And that was the veto's reason. Is
I
that
don't know,
what
that's
happened?
what I'm saying. The veto to me, the reasoning is unclear, so I don't know.
It should have been, it
No,
should
that
have
wasn't
taken
the
place
reason for my
in that
Excuse me,
meeting.
okay.
The question.
So the minutes were not approved for May the sixth.
No, it was just withdrawn. I
Are you
moved to
gonna-
approve the minutes from Monday, May 6, 2024.
Can I get a second? Now it dies for lack of support. Can I get a motion for approval workshop minutes, May the sixth?
I want to make a motion to approve the workshop meeting minutes of May 6, 24,
Second.
2024 for the workshop.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you call roll?
Councilmember Shafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes. Mayor McDonald? Nope. We have approval of special budget, excuse me, Mayor, I apologize. Approval, can I get a motion to approve the special budget workshop meeting minutes, May 13th?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve special budget workshop meeting May 13, 2024.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Shafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes. Now, Mayor McDonald, you may speak to the council.
Good evening, citizens of Highland Park. Good evening, council. I only have one thing, and that's to thank the Parker Pride Foundation for an awesome event this past Saturday. The parade was very, very well organized as usual, and it's continuing to grow, and I appreciate you guys continuing to do the work. And that's all I have tonight. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you. Now we have citizen participation. Anything that appears on the agenda for tonight? Do we have any participation from the citizen? Yes, ma'am. Say your name, please.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
And citizens, my name is Alicia Strong and I'm from the treasurer's office. I just wanted to remind everyone that we are going to start in June payment plans for pre-foreclosure. So right now, we're putting out pre-foreclosure prevention and also reminding people that if they have been foreclosed, that the notice of intent is available for them to fill out by July 1st. I will leave some of these forms. This is the notice of claim interest in foreclosure sales proceeds. Long story short, house is $20,000, they sell it for $50,000. Minus what's owed, taxes, fees, just say for goodness sake, that's another $10,000. That $20,000 would come back to you. So again, I'm leaving documents as well, and feel free to come down to the treasurer's office to make an appointment if need be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
are you from Wayne County?
Yes.
Okay, please tell Mr. Sabri that his last visit here, this council humbly apologizes for not recognizing him when he was sitting in the audience.
I certainly will. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do we have any more citizen participation?
And that's not.
Administration. Public hearing. Public hearing. 2024-2025 budget and rates. That's from the water.
So, Mayor, I'm sorry, Council Pro Tem, you would need a motion from council to open the public hearing.
Can I get a motion to open this public hearing?
Item 5 is the open meeting.
Right above that is public hearing.
No, open bid was removed, not the public hearing for the budget.
Right, so I need a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Let me get a second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Martin supported.
Thank you.
Administration.
Council Pro Tem, so this is the opportunity for the public, once the public hearing is open, for the public to come to the podium and tell council or address council in regards to the budget that has been proposed and presented by the finance. So this is the public's opportunity to address council on the budget.
Public, have you received copies of the budget? Do you know anything about the budget? Come speak, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Have a question regarding nonprofits water bills. Because last meeting, we were told that they don't get a water bill.
Mr. Garrett.
So what we had planned on doing is letting the public have all their questions,
And then come. okay.
accumulate them, and then provide
Okay.
answers.
Okay.
So
I appreciate that.
we took down that question
Thank
and we'll be prepared to answer.
Do we have any more questions on the public hearing? Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
Yes, good evening. Regarding the water, did you come up with the answer for that June that you gave us, that we're gonna be paying that high rate on our bill? You said June this year, it would be the cutoff period. You're gonna answer that? Okay, and also what the money is being used for? Okay.
Any more public comment?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Lisa, Moss Street. So I just want to talk a little bit about the budget generally, and about accounting. You know, the thing about, is it okay if I move this podium like this? Can I do this? Thank you. That's better. You guys don't need to see her shoe, right? So just easy. So accounting is about accountability. And the thing about accountability in a strong mayor system, like the one that we have here in Highland Park, is that city council is the check and balance to the mayor, and the check and balance to the administration. For instance, in other strong mayor cities, it's actually the city council who has charge of the audit. City council approves the budget. They also are supposed to have input, the final say in the budget. And our charter says that there should be a column for the city council to consider budget adjustments if they want to make them. We haven't done a great job as a city of.
Excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting. Is there a question on that first part? What is your question?
I have a question. I'll get to my question in a moment.
Why are you interrupting
What is
her?
her question in regards to?
Let her finish.
First of all, I'm not
There's
talking
no
to you.
reason to interrupt her.
Second of all, I'm talking to you, ma'am. What was your question in regards to?
I'm not asking a question at this moment. When I'm finished with talking, then I'll ask a question.
So I'm asking you about.
Finish what you were saying, please.
Okay.
Please finish. Please finish. Good
Charmaine.
God.
I'm not sure, because it seems like she is right now.
Oh, my
Can you
God.
scoot it back so the rest of them can see since you
Lord,
moved the
I'm-
podium?
Sure.
Move the podium all the way back.
Oh, my God.
Just let her finish what the hell she was saying.
Wait, you know what? You're so disrespectful.
Is that
How
better?
is that disrespectful? She let her finish what she was saying. How is that disrespectful? What the hell is wrong with y'all?
Y'all came in here on something
What the
altogether.
hell is wrong with y'all today, man? Don't start with me today. I'm not in the mood for none of this
No
today.
idea that I was
This is actually
running.
normal. This is
Please
actually
calm
normal.
down.
Point of order, thank you. Can you please finish?
Actually.
Of course.
This happens
In the mood
typically-
for discuss today.
typically with this
I had no idea I was hearing you.
Uh,
Public.
So our current budget has a lot of work that could be done on it. There are a lot of things. I think some of you guys, my husband, did a kind of a quick and dirty perspective on the budget. So he might have emailed it out to you guys the other day. But one of the things that I would like to mention about accountability, for instance, this chart here. Actually, if you want, you can have one. One of these. So we have multiple funds in Highland Park, but and the city council is supposed to monitor, over the course of the year, our funds. But the fact is that our city council only gets information regularly about one fund, and that's the general fund. It's not even all of the government funds. So this chart, the very bottom green represents the general fund over 10 years. And all of the rest of those funds above that bottom green one are, all of that money, all of those funds are not regularly checked and balanced by city council's eyes. There are some other issues with the checks and balances that I think city council members can address about what actually consists of their reports, their monthly reports, which is not what you would usually think of as a financial report. So we have very little oversight here in Highland Park, is what I'm saying, about our finances. The part of the budget that I looked at was the water department budget. And you guys remember, was anybody here on December 18th when we passed a water department revised budget? Janet, I know you guys were here, right? So our water department, there's a column in our budget for those revisions, but the budget doesn't reflect that there were revisions at all. And so I found that to be kind of irregular and maybe slightly kind of not accountable, I guess you could say, because you see, we passed a revised budget on the 18th of December, and now I'm expecting to have accountability about that money that was approved by City Council. But since the budget does not reflect that there was a budget revision, then how can we have accountability? There's one other thing I wanted to ask. I've come to my question now, and it's for you, Damon. Back in November, we talked about depreciation as an element of a budget. And I told you I didn't know a lot about fund accounting, so I wasn't going to say for sure, but I had a strong suspicion that depreciation does not belong in the budget. You see, depreciation is about assets. You already spent that money. And the expenditure section of a budget is about spending this year's revenue. So if depreciation, I mean, it's in the budget for 2025 as well. So I would like to know, what does the water department spend the depreciation revenues on, or the revenues allocated to depreciation? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more public
Comments?
Yes. No more public comments? Mr. Garrett?
So you would need if the public is complete, then we would need a motion to close the public hearing.
And I get a motion to close the public.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
You have people online? You have people online who have their hand raised? Anybody acknowledge the people that are online?
Mr. Lackey, are you here to acknowledge the people that are online?
I am. There was someone that had their hand raised. They just lowered it. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Yolanda, if you unmute yourself, they'll be able to hear you. Yolanda. Okay, City Council, looks like Yolanda attempted to unmute, but I'm not hearing anything. I'm not sure if she's having any issues or not, but she is unmuted and it doesn't appear that her mic is working.
Now can I get a motion to close?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Shafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes. 5 was removed, so now we have questions, answers. We have answers to our questions this year.
I got a few questions at home too.
Would you like to ask those now. What I would like to do is present my budget.
Go right ahead.
Because the residents haven't heard the presentation, so I'd like to present what I have.
Yes.
And then after I do that, I have those questions that were asked, and then whatever the council may have. If I may do that, that would be my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right. So good evening, council, administration, and residents.
Good evening.
So what I'm going to do here is we had some handouts that are up here. If you don't have them, please get them. I'd like to go through our budget in our presentation and try to explain what our proposed revenues and expenses are for the year. And then we will go through and answer all the questions that have been asked. So on page 2 is a kind of a look back of revenue from FY 2022 to FY 2025. And these are showing the revenues that reflect the water department revenue. So you can see in FY 2022, we were right around 7.7 million. In FY 23, we were right at 7.7 million. And then in FY 24, we're at 9.1 million, and we're proposed to be at 10.5 in 2025. So if you're looking at this bar graph, you might wonder, what happened? What was the difference in FY 23 to 24, and so on with 24 and 25? So Ms. Stolarski had already mentioned this. We were asked to, it's a part of mediation, we were asked to do a rate increase at the end of last year. And that in 22 and 23, we did not have rate increases. So the revenue was flat, but we were asked to do a rate increase as a part of mediation and the money that the state was proposing to give to Highland Park. So you can see the jump in revenue. It's about $1.4 million from FY 23 to 24. And then we can talk about this, also this increase from FY 24 to 25. So this is generally what the revenue is in the water department. So if you turn to page 3, basically these are our revenue sources in the water department, which basically are our rates. Okay, so the orange represents 44% of the revenue sources, which is stormwater, which while that is a large portion of the revenue, it's also a large portion of outstanding money that's owed to the city that impacts the way that the water department operates. For the council members, this information, the budget that was submitted, the entire budget for the city, which was the general fund and the water fund, these revenues are on page 35.
Mr. Gary, all of this has changed, okay? So in one of these, the orange is income tax. The first one you gave us orange is income tax. Then it changes in this one from income tax to stormwater runoff.
Oh, okay.
The orange pie got, the stormwater runoff got bigger.
Hold on, can I explain that to you?
But the income tax got small.
So, Mr. Shafi, the original proposal included the general fund, and you're looking at the general fund. So it was the general fund was first, and then the water fund was second. So in the workshop, what you're looking at is the general fund. What I did was the water, and what you asked me to do was make revisions to miscellaneous and others. So that, what you're looking at is the water budget only. That is the general fund that the presentation was done by the finance department last week. So that's the difference in the orange pies. Is that clear?
Not really, Mr. Gary, but please continue. Please continue, go right ahead.
Okay, so on the water department budget, the orange pie is 44%. What was submitted was all of the budget, which was water and sewer and general fund. So if you're following along with the dollars, page 35 is where the water fund starts. And on page 35, if you go to item 592-000-64410 and 64420, that is where it shows the stormwater revenue, and it tallies up to 4,649,250. That's what that orange portion represents, and that is 44% of the $10.5 million budget. So this, while it doesn't have numbers on it, the percentage matches up with the way the budget was prepared. So that in all of these pies, I listed all the pages because I figured you didn't have anything with the last presentation to cross-reference what we were presenting and what was submitted. So I went through and did that for all of these pies. Now I'll go on to the next piece. The next largest piece of the revenue source is the ready to serve charges. So that's 29% of the budget. And it's approximately $3 million, $3,250,000. Also on page 35, items 650.015 and 650.150. So the next piece is the water and sewer consumption. So these are items that people see on their bills. So the water and sewer consumption is your actual usage. That is 21% of the budget. It's $2,228,160. Also on page 35, items 643 and 644. 4% is the billing charge, which is $399,917, 4% of the budget, and other fees. Now, the feedback that we received from Councilman Ashafi is, I don't want to see any references to other. I don't want to see any references to miscellaneous. I want all that explained, okay? So what we did is we took those pies and we broke them out so that it could explain what those charges were. So on page 4, it breaks down what the other revenue sources are. So that 2% is, a portion of it is the industrial waste charge. Permit fees, $8,000. Industrial waste charge is $50,000, $274. Customer meters, $30,000, and grants, $150,000. So this 2%, this $238,000, we took it to a new pie so that you could see all the individual pieces that made that up. So it wasn't kind of this miscellaneous other where nobody knew what it was.
What page?
This is the breakdown is on page 4. So on page 4, in these handouts
So
here.
we don't have a reference in here.
Okay, so the other are on page 35, items 653, 477, 645, and 545. So just to answer pro tem, if you go to page 35 in this guy, 35, okay? And we look at item 653, industrial waste charge, $50,000, $274. Now, if you look at on this new pie, industrial waste charge, $50,274, item 653. So that piece of pie correlates with this budget that you have in front of you. The other things that you asked about, permit fees. If you go to item 477, it's up at the top, revenues, $8,000, matches the breakdown on this. Customer meters, $30,000, item 645, meter charge, $30,000. So these are nice, pretty colors and dollars, but it also ties back to the budget that you have. Does that?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's look at the expenses. So there were some questions about revenue, and the way that our budget is set up is the revenue that's generated is to offset the expense. There's not we create a rate, so there's revenue for us, and then we put it in our pocket and leave the city with nothing. That's not what this is. You go through all of in the budget, they call it your revenues, and they call it appropriations. On our budget, it's revenue expenses. So if you got $10, it's $10 to get a balanced budget in generally speaking. So in our presentation here, our bill to GLEWA is 57% of our expenses. So of our $10.5 million budget, almost 60% of it is used to pay GLEWA. So when we're talking about billing charge, 57%. And that is found on page 35, where we were. And if you go down to sewage disposal, item 592-527-92200, sewage disposal, $4.9 million. Right underneath that, you can see the IWC charge. So page 36, I'm sorry, under water, the water bill is 982,000 down, item 538-922-001, 982,100. So 982,100 plus the 5,031,474 equals 6,013,574, which is the 57% of the expenses that the water department has. So when you go and look up when you're setting your rates and you're looking at your thing, well, you have to offset that expense with the revenue. So when I was talking about billing charge, stormwater fees, water consumption, those are revenues, and these are now what we're going into as expenses. So that's 57%. Our fee, the water department, customer service operations, 15%. Okay. Now I've heard feedback from Councilman Shafi and residents, fees too high. You guys' fees too high. That's what they've said to us, right? And there's this notion that, we're raising the rates so we can pay ourselves. That's not what's happening. Okay. The revenues and the rates are to offset the expenses, which we are part of the expense. What we do. Okay. So to give you a point of reference, on page, if you look at back on 36, you can see some of the old activity. So we were at $2.1 million. Okay. The budget didn't reflect that in 23 or 24, but that's what it's been for the past couple of years. So what we're proposing is a $500,000 reduction in our expense, which you can see over at the right on page 36, that would take us to 1.6. Now, I didn't bring it up here, but I do have it over there. You've seen that 1,000-page document now that we have to follow as a part of the contract, right? So we're taking our fees down, and we're having to do more than we've ever done in the past decade that we've been here to satisfy pages and pages of stuff that came out of the mediation. So that's 15%. The rest of the budget, which is 28%, are all expenses that the city would have regardless of us being here. So gas bills, rent for the customer service center. Stolarski talked about depreciation, loan repayment. That all of those little pies that are right here, if we walked out here today and never came back, you're going to have those expenses. So that's 28%. And if you add the 28% to our 15 and to the 57, that gets you 100% of what the expenses are. So the lion's share is GLEWA, and then it's our expense. Then we also have 10% are these water and sewer repairs. Okay, that's the green little pie right there. And then the rest are all of these small ones. So in this, to do what Councilman Ashafi asked, we have something there called miscellaneous water, which is 2% expense. And we also have other. So if you turn to, and the miscellaneous expenses are, have those, well, I can't read this, but let's go to this next page right quick so we can look at that. Page 6, which is a new page. So the first one, other expenses. So we have the stormwater charges for water department property in Detroit. So Houston Whittier, those still are our facilities. We have to pay Detroit $65,000 for stormwater fees. So that is,
What is that?
so back in the day, we had
Pumping station on there?
yeah, we had a big pumping station where we were pumping, I think 5-10 MGD out of that back in the day when in the 1950s, when the city had a lot more people in commercial business. It's right now, it's kind of been mothballed for several years. It's boarded up. We've had to go over there with DPW and whack weeds down and make it secure, but that has not been operational for years and years. But we still have to pay stormwater for that. So that's $65,000 for that. We have some Eagle licensing fees that are $7,000. And we have accounting services that finance is asked that we reallocate to the water department. And that is we have to download files and she has to do accounting. So we've allocated expense for that. So all of those are in this. The accounting expenses on page 36 is 592, 536, 801, 100. The stormwater is on page 36, 592, 538, 922, 200. The Eagle fees are on page 36, 592, 536, 803, 015. So again, what you have here is also in the big budget. And the next one, so that is our expenditures for other, which was 1% on this. And then the next page, on page 7, is the expenditure breakdown for what is miscellaneous water. So miscellaneous water are, these are expenses associated with printing and the mailing of the bills, okay? That's on page 36. It's listed as contract services, 592, 536, 80100, $16,000. We have budgeted annual postage fee of $24,000 to mail out all of those accounts every month. That is on page 36, 592, 536, 852. Water testing expenses, $12,000 under contractual services. Meter supplies, $30,000. And this technology expense, which is our sewer meters that we've had in the ground. It's part of how we're going to validate or invalidate some of our sewer fees that we're being charged from GLWA. It's got meters in the ground right now. And that annual expense to maintain those is $85,200. That is under contractual services as well, 592, 536, 801. And our Neptune software, which is our software that we use for instantaneous reads on all of the water accounts that we have in the city. Annual expense for that is $18,000. It's listed as communications maintenance, 592, 536, 855, 000. So on page 8, that is showing you what our new GLEWA expenses are. So in FY24, we paid GLEWA $4.5 million. There was $1 million payment that we had to pay as a part of this mediation. We were going to have to go to taxes, and if we didn't pay them the $1 million to kind of keep the mediation going. So we had that expense. But if you take that out, the real payment for the water and sewer usage to GLEWA was $3.5 million in 2024. It's going to be $6 million in 2020.
So that actual $1 million went to the different municipalities and said.
I'm not sure where that $1 million went, but it was a payment that they said you got to pay this. Yeah, and so but we had to do it. It's not something that would normally be in the water department budget. But the purpose of this slide is to show the difference between what we were paying GLEWA and what we have to pay them now, which is a difference of about $2.5 million. So when you look at how you're allocating expenses, how are you establishing your rates? Well, obviously that 57% that we talked about is the largest part of our expense. So this is just showing you what we did last year and what we have to do now. I guess the upside of it was after raising the rates is, the state and Eagle are committed to giving Highland Park, it's around $70 to $100 million over the next several years to get all the infrastructure replaced, which is in that huge document that I have. We were under the ACO from 2017 that now is replaced with the ACA that was signed here. And we have to do several things, but one of them is replace all the water main in the ground. So this is what we now have to pay GLEWA. So on page 9, you can see the difference between what the revenues were and the expenditures. Back in 2022, you can see that the expenditures far outweighed the revenue, okay? So what happened there? So what happened there was the Water Enterprise Fund had to borrow from the general fund, okay? Not a very good practice. It was one of the things that came out in mediation is hey, you need to not be borrowing money from the general fund because not yet. The intent is to pay that back.
I
But
thought that was in the deal that you guys couldn't borrow from the general fund.
that's why we had to change the rates. So I'm not an accounting person, I'm a water guy. I don't want to get into all of that, how that works, but I know if you do, if you do borrow from the general fund, you do have to pay back over a period of time. Now, I don't know what the stipulations and all that are.
Does council have to approve that borrow if you do borrow from the general fund?
I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that.
You did the last time.
So what's being shown here is the revenues were flat, which back when we were talking about the rates from 22 and 23, the rates were flat. So in 23, in December, we were asked to increase those rates. Part of it was to stop the need from borrowing from the general fund, to properly set your rates where you can accommodate for your expenses. So that, if you're looking at this graph, you can see in 23 to 24, the revenue is up, and that is primarily what that is. So this one, there was a question about this on page 10. Page 10 is showing the revenue loss from delinquent accounts. So you can see the total amount lost from delinquent accounts, mainly stormwater, is $2.3 million. So if you think about the amount of money that we're missing out on, it's substantial. And that is why you'll see later in the presentation that we are proposing that several ordinances be revised to give the city the proper leverage to be able to collect. Now, you've heard, levy, and you've heard taxes, and that's one way to do it. But what we've been talking about discussing is being able to utilize the city's power to apply special assessments. So if we were to do things today and we said, hey, we have all this delinquent accounts, we'd have to put on a tax roll, everybody gets penalized. So the people who are paying the bill get penalized, people who are not paying the bill gets penalized. That's not really the best practice. So, not a lawyer, but what we've been discussing is revising several of the ordinances to give the city the proper power to get the teeth to go after the people who, and it's mainly the city's problem is stormwater. It's a handful of accounts, but what they believe is we'll just wait it out. We're not going to pay the city. And if the city tries to collect, then we'll sue the city. And then we have lawyers and we have more money and we can pay our lawyers more than the city. And we've been in battles with these people. Some people remember got into it with MDOT many years ago. When we first got here, we were able to win that lawsuit. So, before MDOT, all this runoff on the Davidson, they weren't paying for any of that. So that's about $300,000 of revenue that the city was losing because that runoff goes in the combined sewer that goes down to Glewa. We won that lawsuit. Okay, into the combined sewer and down to Glewa. So we won that lawsuit, huge revenue, but we still have several delinquent accounts that we need to find a way to leverage, because even if we were able to get 50% of that outstanding money to the city, that would be over $1 million, right? So that's revenue and income for the city. And so that allows us to be more flexible with rates and expenses and all that. So that's a huge deal. Just a breakdown on the percentage, 52% is 980,000 commercial stormwater. 30% is the residential metered accounts. And that's a little misleading because there are many more residential meter accounts than there are commercial stormwater accounts. So that's 30%. 10% is the residential stormwater. So that is just residential accounts that generate stormwater, and the other 8% are the commercial meter. So the bulk of it is get the money from the commercial stormwater runoff accounts. That's really what's going on here. Now, there was a question about tax exempt. So they do get water bills. They feel like they do not want to pay those bills. And we don't really have a way to go after them right now.
Can you read those accounts for us?
I have them in this presentation.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
80%, 82% of the tax exempt folks that will not refuse to pay stormwater are the land banks. So that would be the state land bank and the Wayne County Land Bank. We've been in lawsuits with both of those entities, appealing and so on and so forth. But that's $328,000 out of this $400,000 of missing revenue that we don't have a way to collect. So if they have property that they're speculating and they're giving this property away, each year that they sit on that property, we're charged stormwater from GLEWA. We don't get that revenue. So they get to sit here as a landlord in the city and not pay stormwater. And we need a way to assess them and get that revenue back in the city. But it's mainly stormwater. So if you turn to page 11, this was, we got this from assessing. So we said, well, can you give us a list of these tax exempt accounts? So literally, this is a list that we received from assessing. I don't know anything about these accounts. I asked for the list, so they produced it, but there's all sorts of things on here. There's individuals on here, Wayne County's on here, housing commissions on here. These are what makes up this 11% other. And to the feedback that we received last time is people wanted to know who the other was. So that's what is on page 11. Page 12 are all of the ordinances that we believe need to be reviewed in order to give the city the proper teeth. Most of them, the sections are, and this is charter and ordinances. The main charter revision is under special assessments, section 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3. The special assessment power is 10.1, which we want to revisit that. We want to revisit 10.2, which is the procedures as it relates to the ordinance and leaning. So that would be something that this is just our proposal. This would have to go obviously before legal, and whatever revisions that were proposed here would obviously come back to council. And there's been countless discussion about ordinances on top of ordinances on top of ordinances that need to be revised. Some of you might remember the Muni Code proposal from back a few years ago that they were going to come in and do a comprehensive review of all the ordinances. So these are the things that we feel from the water and sewer perspective need to be addressed so that we have the proper teeth and we can get that lost revenue that we were talking about. And page 13, last page is, so what's the outlook? What are we doing? How can we get the rates to go down in the future? This is, so what we have on what the bar graph is showing is what GLEWA is reporting as our usage. So they're reporting 1.68 million gallons per day is Highland Park's usage. The orange is what we actually sell. So we actually only sell 0.57. So there is a 1.1 million gallon a day difference between what they say they're giving Highland Park and then what we actually send bills out to, right? Huge problem, huge discrepancy. That is why you've heard people, Kathy and everybody talk about these meters. Well, when the plant closed down in 12, the Highland Park became officially unmetered. So and when I say unmetered, not the meters in the home. So those are the residents. I'm talking big meters for when the water comes from where it's being finished to the city. We've been on emergency water for 12 years now, unmetered. Part of the problem about how much people say, how much GLEWA says we owe and how much we actually use and how much we actually owe, which all that ties back into rates and expenses and revenues and all that. So this graph is showing you the discrepancy. So what we're trying to do here without, I can't stand here and say, well, you guarantee these rates are going to go down. I cannot do that. And there's a few reasons why. What I can tell you is I know that GLEWA will increase their rates 2 to 4% annually. So no matter what we do, if we don't replace a water main, you're getting an increase in your bill from GLEWA 2 to 4%. Now, that blue over there, with these meters, if we can get that blue down, and it's only 1 MGD or 0.75, that means it's less expense to the city. That's why the meters are so important. And that's why as part of this deal that the state gave us $5 million, which we had the kickoff on that last Thursday for water and sewer today, get the meters in the ground. And the meter location have to be approved by them. We have to run all these technical scenarios, but the long and short of that is measuring the water is a part of reducing the expense, which is part of the rate. So the other things that we've talked about here and some of the residents, that ready to serve charge, like, man, that okay, so that is directly tied to the number of accounts. So right now we've only got 1,600 active accounts, but we have over 3,000. So that means that there's less people to distribute those charges on, right? So ready to serve goes to active accounts. So what that means is, what I was trying to show here is as we get more active accounts, you can see that ready to serve charge dropping 1,200, 912, 684 over the next 2 to 3 years. That is supposed to that should represent a reduction in the fee in the bill in the rates. But I can't come here and say that because you've already heard someone say about what I told them in December, saying that I guaranteed something was going to be this way in June. They want to answer on that. Okay, so what I can tell you is if we get more accounts, and you can see, 2,500 active accounts in 2025, if it goes up to 3,289, which is part of what CED is doing, that means development, more users, we have more places to put the ready to serve charges. So if you have 10 people, if you have 50 people, the charges get spread amongst 50 and not amongst 10. So that's what this is, this slide is really depicting. So we're saying, after the meter gets in the ground in FY25, which is next year, that we believe that we're going to see a drop in at least 0.4 MGD. So it goes from 1.68 down to 1.25, so minus 25%. So that's we're anticipating that we're measuring the water now, and that at a minimum we'll see a reduction of 26%. So you might say, well, why does it not go all the way down to 0.57? Well, there is stuff going on, right? There are straight pipes. And so there are things that we have to continue to try to work on. And there are leaks, which people have come here. We've got the systems built in 1900. We've replaced 14 miles of the water main since 2017, got 45 miles to go. So we still have old leaky pipes. Now, they're not as bad as you might think, but they're over 100 years old. So what's supposed to happen as a part of the ACA is each year we're supposed to be replacing 6, 8, 9, 10 miles of that pipe. So every year that you replace more miles of the pipe, theoretically the leaks go down. You got a 100-year-old pipe, now you got a 1-year-old pipe. So the 1-year-old pipe's not leaky. So that would go down. We'd be metering so we actually know what we're actually measuring now. And all of that over a period of time is a reduction of that number that they're sending us, which there's units attached to that. So if they're not sending 1.6 and we can validate that that's not correct, again, those expenses come down. And what you see is the usage will go up because if you add more users, people are going to use water. You don't just, you have charges that you can disperse amongst those users, but those people do have charges. So you see the usage is slightly going up in 26 and 27, which is all reflecting development. So you're getting more users. But what you want to do is you want to have more users and less usage, because if you have that expense to the city goes down. So that I wanted to make sure the residents heard, and we could present what our budget is about and help people try to understand what is going on. So the first question that was asked was, what's going on? What happened in June? So we were told that we had to come here in December and adopt a temporary budget and temporary rates. That was what was voted on and approved. We're also told that we had to reevaluate those rates now. This is where we are now. This is our fiscal year. So it wasn't this bait and switch like, hey, this is the rates and now you're changing the story. That's not. The legal agreement was, if you don't adopt this budget, and it was halfway through. So normally you don't adopt the budget in the middle of the season. Our budget is from June 30 to June 30. So we got forced in December to adjust this budget and change these rates right now, or we're not going to give you this money. So that's what we are forced to do. So the current rates that are proposed are actually, they are actually a reduction over what we approved in December. So I can go into that a little bit. The overall, we talked about this before. Well, what's the cost to the average user? Well, for 2 units of water in FY24, the cost was $98.10. So what we're proposing now is $89.50, which is that is a 9.7% reduction in the water rate. Okay, so that is a reduction. There's also been, people have come here, hey, my water bill tripled. Well, we tried to explain to people that everybody doesn't have the same meter size. So 76% of the accounts are 5/8 inch meter. There are people with 1 inch meters. Those people, their rates went up a little bit more. And what I've explained before is 5/8 represented over the majority of the accounts, but there are the rates attached to the 1 inch meter were for apartment complexes, small businesses, and those, so we did increase those a little bit more than the 5/8, but it was not to penalize residents with 1 inch meters. It was trying to get the multi-use people to pay their share of the bill. So with the current rates that are being proposed now, FY 2024, it was for 2 units of water, it was $181.57. What we're proposing now is $158.38 for 2 units of water, which is about 14.6% reduction in the average use for 2 units of water. So we actually ended up, the rates actually did come down, even though our expenses did not. So we're trying to show that, we're being as efficient as we can with how we're allocating those expenses. And that was one of the reasons why we said we'll take some, we'll put some skin in the game. We'll take it out of our pocket. So normally you don't have people come and say that, but we've been here. We want to continue to be here. The feedback is, hey, you guys got to look at your rates. We can't have rates going up. They should be going down, and they should be going down. And we've been here. We've been making progress, and over a point in time, your rates should start really high, and they should continue to decrease as the city gets in a much better position. And in 6, 7, 8 years, maybe we have in-house engineers that work for the city where you don't need us as much as you do now. So that's that. The other question that was talked about was what is the money being used for? I don't.
Depreciation?
No, I'm not to the depreciation rate. The first question was about, you told me the rates are going to reduce in June. Somebody said, what is the money being used for? And your question was about depreciation. So I'm going through them one by one. Okay. So I was trying to explain in my presentation that the revenue that's generated from the fees is not going in MCA's pocket. Okay. I went through very detailed all those expenses. And you saw the Gleewood bill, you've seen the gas, electric bill, the rates are set to offset the expenses, not for us to profit solely on the rates. So so the rates are being used to run the city, they're being used for operating expenses, and it is not for us. And Lisa's question was about depreciation, which I need to get some other piece of paper. So the way that, so the depreciation is an expense that we have against the new assets that were installed in the ground. So as I've talked about, it's 14 miles. Those assets have been depreciating. We have not budgeted revenue for that, but we budgeted $550,000 expense for the depreciation of those assets annually. So as we continue, the newer water main becomes not as new anymore. Those assets begin to appreciate. So the day one after operation, they're brand new. It's like a car. Over a period of time, they start to depreciate, and we've allocated $550,000 in this year's budget for that. So those were my answers to those questions. And then Councilman Shafi, you said you had plenty of questions, so I'd be open to do my best to try to answer those.
Okay. First and foremost and most important question is, have we paid the legal?
So I don't know the answer to that question. I know that the deal was signed on 4/26. And so I think that the first payment should be coming due very soon.
Okay, so allow me to clarify that, because I know that the payment is due this month. So we have not paid them this month, is what you're telling me.
When you,
Councilman Ashafi.
Yes, ma'am.
If you remember, we have a lockbox system now.
Okay.
A trustee. So we no longer actually pay them.
Okay.
Money gets intercepted, it goes to the bank, and the bank pays them.
Okay.
So on the 25th of every month, the bank will pay, the trustee will pay the board. And then the rest of the money that's left, in fact, the payment is about, it's gonna average about $550,000 a month, which is almost $100,000 more than we owe legal. But that's for, we've got some debt service on some bonds. And then what's ever left comes back to the city to pay bills. So we physically cutting a check, that's over.
Okay.
That's now.
It goes straight to the lockbox and they handle it from there.
That's right. That was the whole, remember we entered
That's right.
into a trustee
Yeah.
agreement?
Yeah.
That's what that
I remember the trust agreement. I do.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this new one here. It's like it's upside down there, Mr. Garrett. So the first one you gave us looked promising. This one here is hotter. I mean, the numbers are off the chain. I mean, like right here. So just for, we go to page 2 of the new one. And if I take you to page 4 of the old one.
that's the general fund budget.
Hold on a second, or was it page 1? Hold on.
No, you probably look a little different. See, that says general fund budget right there.
Yeah,
I brought them from
Okay,
So page 10 of the original is page 2 of the new.
okay, so page 10. So, right here, bam.
They look just the same. They're exactly the
Okay.
same.
Okay. So these numbers,
We added so on the first version, there were no numbers.
on this first.
And then on the revised version, we thought it'd be easier to put numbers on the fourth.
Yeah, that would have been helpful in this one too. Let's see here. These graphs is off the chain. I'm telling you.
Literally, the packets are exactly the same from page 10 and 2. The only thing that was added was the other and the miscellaneous breakouts that you requested. So if you like them that much better now, I'm happy, but it's the exact same.
A little bit different. Okay. So let's get into this budget right here. Okay. Page 35. 592,000, 477,000 permits. That's $8,000 at the end. Is that an increase or is that an expenditure?
That is an increase in revenue. So those are fees coming into the city because it's under the revenue section. In 2023, we only got $400. $1,400 because we had the 2 budgets. If you can look back in 2023, it was 13, it was 1,000 amended to 1,000. So that's people coming in doing business in the city and we're charging them permit fees. So that's a revenue. That's money coming in, to answer your question.
Okay. And you said this miscellaneous here, 592,000, 661,000 is miscellaneous. Started out at 12 grand. It's ending at 14 this year, but it's nothing for 2025. So is that the end of that?
We're not proposing
Okay,
that.
So that expense has been eliminated.
Yes, yes, it has.
Yeah, meter charge here. 58,000. From drop down to 30,000. Is that an expense or an increase? What is that?
Where are you at, sir?
592,000 646,000. Says meter charges.
645.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't have my glasses on. Take no idea.
Yes, that's revenue coming in.
Okay, so this is.
So
it's
just
increased by 30,000.
Yeah, so once upon a time, all of the meters were supposed to be switched out way back before we got here. So what happens is sometimes we go into to do inspections for other reasons in people's homes, and we find out that they still have the old Trident meters. Okay, the old Trident meters are a problem because we don't register with our current software system. So what we're saying is there's still some meter switch outs that need to be done, and those meter switch outs are people that have to purchase new meters. Could be commercial folks, could be residential folks. So that's a revenue to the water department.
Okay. Can you tell me why Grigsby and Morgan Roth is in your budget, in your line item budget? Is that because they handled the water deal, Kathy?
Yes, and we still have a few lawsuits that are pending. So
Okay.
things have been wrapped up. So they were always charged for water. They started in the general fund, but they were switched to water because they were water lawsuits. And the city made a commitment to fight the overcharges and fight the. So that's where the expense occurred.
Okay. You're looking at in your line item here, line item 592,536,968,000. You're looking at a little over $500,000, $550,000 of depreciation.
Hold on a second.
Is that correct?
Hold on just a second, please. Nine, two.
What?
You were 592, 536,968?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
that's an expense, yes.
Okay, so that's $500,000 of depreciation. Now, I know you kind of went over that a little bit, but you was talking about a couple other things. I really need you to explain to me how there's $500,000 of depreciation.
So, let's see how I can try to do this. So right now, brand new water main installed in the ground is about 1.7, Drew, is that right? About $1.7 million per mile. Okay, so if you look at, hey, in 2018, we put in 6 miles of water main. That was a brand new asset in 2018 at whatever that calcs out to be. So in 19, 20, 23, 24, that asset is starting to depreciate. Okay, so what we're saying is we've got the water main on Tennyson and how many, what we got, Drew? Tennyson, what else are we putting in? How many miles is that? Is it 7-ish? 6. So 6 miles of water main right now is going to be new in 2025, maybe sometime this year. And so we're depreciating the expense for, that won't be in this year's budget, but the depreciation is happening from those assets that were already installed in the ground.
Okay.
Are you following that a little bit?
Okay. You know what, I'm not seeing in your proposed budget here, Mr. Garrett, and I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but I'm not seeing the $72,000.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That we're paying.
Yes, sir.
For
Let me take you to
Woodward Avenue. And I don't see the $1.6 million in salary for you and
Okay,
your staff.
okay, let's go. Let's go to property rental, 592, 536, 940, straight across, $72,000, property rental, right there.
Okay.
You see it?
Say the number again,
I'm sorry, 592, 536. It's on page 36, 940, 400, 72,000. And
okay,
and
I
then
see that.
and then right above it is the utilities, that the gas and all that, which is
I got that part.
okay. Now you said the 1.6. Go up to 592, 536, 801, 113. You see 800,000 for the water director and staff, and then you see 800,000 for the operations and customer service center. That's the 1.6 I was referring to, and you can see back what it was in 2022 and 23.
Okay, hold on a second. So in 592, 536, 801, 112.
Yeah.
I see contractor service, Metro Consulting.
800.
It started out at 1.3. I'm sorry, 1.13, and it ended up at 800,000. Okay. Okay. And then right below that is another 1 million that ended up at 800,000. So that would put you at 1.6. How many staff members you got?
So let's see, Highland Park. So we have, I want to say 17. Sound right, Drew?
I tell you, just for Metro Consulting.
Yes, 17.
Okay, so 17.
And that's off the top of my head. So I can give you an exact number, but I'm just doing the quick math.
Yeah, okay. So what I would like from you, Mr. Garrett, is I get how y'all trying to minimize the paperwork. I get that. But for me, I gotta have a breakdown. I need to know what $1.6 million looks like split up among 17 individuals. I need to see how that's gonna go. I need to see salaries. You're asking us to approve an entire budget, but we're not seeing the entire budget. We're seeing slithers of it, pieces of it, little glimpses off in the corner. It's like being in the dark room, and for a split second, I saw a light over there in that corner right there. There it is. Saw a light right there, but then it's gone. If we are going to approve this budget, I need a complete breakdown, and I'm tired of saying it. And I know that you're doing a great job here with the graphs and everything, you know what I'm saying? Ms. Martin, I know that she appreciates that. But when I look at 1.6 million in salary, and then
it's not $1.6 million in salary. Like I'm not following that math.
Okay, so see, I asked a question at the workshop. I asked you. I said, "What is the salary amount for you and your employees?"
What does that have to do with the level of service that is being provided to you?
I'm curious about what we're spending.
Okay.
I need to see all of the budget. Like I give a prime example here. I noticed that nobody from the finance department is here, but if we go into the administration's budget, I give a prime example here of what I'm talking about. When I speak about questions, under the mayor's salary, her salary is listed at the end here for $2,000 and 25, $148,000. Now, I know that can't be right, so there's gotta be her salary plus whoever, her chief of staff, her executive assistant, whoever that could possibly be. Because I know that this council didn't approve $148,000. Then on top of that, right underneath that salary, there's a line item here for overtime for $1,000. The mayor doesn't work overtime. She has a fixed rate as an elected official. She don't get overtime. I don't care how much any of us work, we don't get overtime. But I'm looking at a line item here for overtime under the mayor.
Right, but we only talking about water though.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? All I'm simply saying is, before I'm interrupted, all I'm simply saying is, you're asking us to approve a budget. Okay, you're asking us to approve the whole of the budget. Okay, that's everything that this budget entails, okay? Even the stuff that may not be in here that y'all feel was irrelevant, we are going to approve the budget, we're going to approve it. So my question is, I need to see what that looks like. I need to see what these salaries are looking like. You know what I'm saying? What is this overtime for? Who exactly is this overtime for? I need to understand what's going on here. Here's another one under the attorneys who should be under contract. I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, but.
Okay, I'm just pointing out various inconsistencies. I noticed that nobody from the finance department is here today to answer these questions. So these questions are not going to get answered, but you want us to vote and approve this budget today.
No, there's no vote today. Councilman Chapman.
So all I'm saying is, nobody's here to answer these questions. I need these questions answered. I need to know what this looks like. I need a breakdown of what is going on here, okay? Because everything has been lumped together, and I don't like it being lumped together. It doesn't help me to understand.
Okay.
It's all lumped together.
So, we're gonna, write those questions down, and we're actually, you have any more questions?
No, I'm done. That's it.
Okay, so I have.
You have a seat.
We only have to deal with water. My first question is, were you able to answer this next question about churches and nonprofits? Did you address it? I'm very curious. That was a great question she asked.
So they pay their water bill, okay? But some of them don't have water accounts. They have stormwater only accounts. And they, like the land bank, do not pay their stormwater bill because they feel like it's a tax. And this gets into some legal stuff, but right now those people are not paying the city. And we are accruing those charges.
Right, because there's a big difference between, so on this sheet right here, it says delinquent account. When we're talking about 1 million, that's residential commercial, correct? It's my understanding, correct? And then over here, when we say tax exempt, we're talking about 400 million. That's a big difference.
Whoa.
Am I reading that correctly?
Okay.
Or not?
Can you run that one more time, please?
Is this, okay, so is this 400,000?
That's 400,000.
Okay, and this is a million.
And that's 1.9.
Okay, and that's residential and commercial, correct?
Correct.
So we're not talking about, in this chart, we're not talking about active accounts.
Yeah, these are the active accounts over here. And then the breakdowns, I have them in the commercial stormwater, that 52%,
Okay.
$980,000,
Yeah.
$983,04. Okay. That's revenue that's lost because somebody is not paying their stormwater bill. And we, like water, you can turn them off, but somebody has a vacant lot, somebody has property, they're not using water. We're not able to collect on that unless we go to tax roll as the ordinance is today. We're proposing going to be able to utilize special assessments and try to do that 2 times a year. So slap those, like right now, there is no penalty. You're sitting there, you're not paying your stormwater, but the city is racking up that debt, and that's what we're trying to show here.
All right, and then my next question is the meters going to change that? Once we get all the meters in, is that going to change these numbers?
So yes and no. So right now, we have meters, water meters, sewer meters.
Okay.
So sewer meter is the volume of sewage that's leaving the city, right? And so while, our bill right now was 5 million sewer, 980,000 water, right? And we talk a lot about water, but right now, without the meters, we've been in this drainage black box. Okay, so now that these meters are in the ground, so when it rains, when it's not raining, the sewage is getting measured by the meter, and we can tell about how much sewage is actually leaving the city. When it rains, this drainage and the stormwater, then we know how much water gets in the sewer and leaves the city. And that has a total volume amount. So once we have those meters and we know what the total volume is, we can say that we believe this amount of sewage is leaving the city, which would be combined drainage and regular, toilet use. And we think that the bill should be revised and looked at. So it doesn't necessarily impact the delinquent accounts, but it does impact the amount of the bill that the units that they have for the volume. So say, hey, we want to charge you $5 a unit just for giggles, and you use 10 units. And we're saying we're going to meter, we only use 6 units. So they're still going to charge the $10. These are not real numbers, but I'm just trying to make an example. They're still going to charge the 10 units, but it's going to be on the actual volume. That's what that's going to do. That doesn't have anything to do with people who are generating that sewage and getting into our system that are not paying the bill. That's what this is. And if we have these special assessments set up, all of a sudden now you were sitting on a $100,000 stormwater bill that you have no intention to pay the city ever. Well, if we get the assessments written, you'll be assessed that, and we'll have some legal power to deal with them in a way that we don't have right now. That's what we need. That's why we need the ordinances to address this outstanding money.
Is that why we're also using the litigation with Landon? Is that why?
Yeah, they believe that they can sit on those properties and not have to pay their bills, and then they flip them, and we've told the state that a million times, is that we got 50% of our property that's vacant. City might own half of that, and the state owns the other half of it, and they're not paying that stormwater bill. But each month we get that from legal, and if their properties are generating stormwater, we're expected to cover that. We should not be expected to cover that.
And then my last question is, when you say active account, are you talking about paying their?
Yeah, water is on, active, yeah. Because we have several accounts where water is not on, and those are inactive accounts, but they might be shut off at the curb.
So the people who are paying their bills are being affected by people who are not.
Yeah, that's what Shafi says all the time about on the backs of the residents, and that's why we say that when we start to look at the big picture and we talk about community development and these developments, it's all connected. So if we don't take care of business with the developments and get the new users, that penalizes people who are paying the bill. That's why we need him to get users. All of that works together to bring the bill down.
No. Thank you. I have one. Are the computers at the water department still down?
No. There was so the server, the city server went down, which all of the water department's data was on that. And Mr. Lackey and his team worked over the weekend to get that back online, and that's been on. It came back on early Monday, and then we had to get everything rebooted. And so Monday mid-morning-ish, they were BSNA, which is the billing software, is back. But we've been talking with city administrator about getting it on the cloud, getting how can, because like she said, our bill is going to be due on the 25th. So if stuff's down, they don't care if the city server's down. They do not care. So we can't afford to have that data sitting on a conventional server. We need to put it up on the cloud, which is progression from an IT standpoint. And that data is up there and it never goes down. It's on. I just had a couple of people call me because they had to get paper receipts. Yeah, and we didn't want to do that. But I mean, people want to pay the bills. They kept calling and saying, we want to come down there and pay these bills. So we're hoping to go to a cloud solution and it's on the agenda for tonight. Yeah, it is. So.
No further questions?
I'm gonna take care of it right now.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
Yes, you're welcome. Black meters? What's that, gas? Is that DTE? That's not us. I believe that's DTE. We are, your meters for water in the basement in the house. So they're doing all this gas main.
So do we need a motion to?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you do. I'm
No, we
sorry.
already closed.
Thank you, Ms.
It's
Garrett.
closed.
Okay.
It's closed. Okay, item number 6, administration. Thank you, Ms. Garrett.
You're welcome.
Resolution to upgrade the BS8 system.
I want to make a motion to have a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
I second. Aye.
You good?
I mean, time so much. All of us.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen.
Madam Clerk.
Hey, I was trying to get
No, we could download this whole thing. You can have a record of it for yourself.
Oh, no, I got it now. I put it back down.
Okay, everyone? Motion? I'm not. Calling the meeting back to order. And it's discussion at 8:40. Item number 6, administration. A resolution to upgrade B, S, and A system. I move to upgrade the B and S and A system.
Support with questions.
I think, good evening, everybody. I think Charles is on the line too, but I'll start. I think back in 2016, the city got a grant from the state to purchase BSNA. I think it was about 250,000. We were doing accounting and Mrs. Stolarski or Miss Stolarski, Donovan. All right, I should have hyphenated my name because I had a cool name. My name was Foster. Instead of Square, I would be Foster Square. But she's right, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. And so in many ways, the city is starting from scratch again and rebuilding its infrastructure and all of its practices and procedures. Bottom line, we got BSNA. We converted from our old spreadsheets and our old worn out, whatever we had. We still had the green old computer paper. Remember that green bar computer paper? And we've really updated everything, and everything is in the cloud now, except for the server. And the server, and I'll let Lackey jump in, it's down every time the power goes out. And we know how much the power, here he is right here, how much the power goes out. So it's a workhorse and we need more reliability now. We've been waiting to do this. It's expensive, but we were, in our financial condition, we often wait for things to break before we fix them. With that being said, I'll let Charles tell you the story.
Okay, so good evening, council.
I don't know how comfortable I am with you standing there, usually being on the screen. Because somebody bring him a TV to hold up to him. Yeah.
Well, my name is up there just in case.
Yeah, that's what we used to see.
So I rushed over here from Hamilton.
All right.
So I just give you a little kind of a snippet, a synopsis of what occurred. As Kathy talked about, we have a server, okay, that hosts all of our city application. That's where all the data lives, is here at City Hall. I got an alert Tuesday morning, because we monitor it, got an alert Tuesday morning that the server was no longer communicating. So I got here about 30 minutes later. When I got here, I found out that the server had a catastrophic hardware failure. So a server is nothing but a hyped up computer. They operate off of circuits and components and things like that. This server's been around for about 7 years or so. And the motherboard that houses all the components quit, okay? I spent all day trying to get it back up. That day, Tuesday, ended up diagnosing it with some parts, had the parts overnighted because they weren't readily available, installed the parts 15 minutes after they arrived. Wasn't able to bring it back. The next day I actually drove out about 50 minutes from here and had the server replaced. Brought the server back, installed it. And then once you do that, you have to do the data restore process. So all of that data that's out there, you got to get it back in there. Not only do you have to do that, you have to do a comparative. So you have to compare your backup to what the live data is. And the reason that that's important is because we have to make sure all the customers' bills are accurate, make sure we got the right updated information. We have to make sure that that data checks. So we have a customer that comes and says, my water bill wasn't this, I have to be able to verify that that happened. So I spent the night at City Hall, I think Thursday night. And then we worked on it throughout the weekend. We did our final test Monday morning, and then we had it up at 11 o'clock. So essentially what we'll be doing here with BSNA Cloud is that we have a lot of environmental issues here. We lose power a lot. We don't have a generator here. And all of that is bad for computing. Okay, so this would move the responsibility of us maintaining our own server to BSNA maintaining.
So
Go ahead, go ahead.
with the BSNA, is that part of preventive maintenance? Do we have any preventive maintenance?
So we do preventative maintenance. That's why the service lasted so long. So, but again, with hardware issues, there's a little chip on that motherboard that went out. So it's really nothing you can do about that.
So, how much did this affect other parts of the system?
The entire system is on that server.
Everything.
Every single thing.
Okay, because I know I got calls from multiple people. They said that not only was the water department down, the tax window was down, and also Mr. Eleanor's checking system was down as well.
Everything.
So the whole system crashed. Okay, so is this going to be enough? Is what I'm asking.
It's a complete. So you're literally taking everything that's here, and moving it to the cloud.
Okay.
So there will be no more server that's necessary here.
Okay.
And the best part about it is redundancy.
Okay.
So and like I said, we have a lot of environmental issues, a lot of power issues. If there was ever a need to move offices somewhere else because of that environment, you could do that without having to go through a bunch of processes.
Okay, so is this for every year?
So I believe, so I believe there's a one-time cost of a little over 100,000.
Yeah.
And then
107 it says here.
Yep. And then there is a ongoing cost of about 50, I believe it is.
Okay.
And we're already paying ongoing costs anyway. So some of that would already be budgeted anyway.
Are we paying less?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe they're too far off.
My next question is, what are we gonna do with that space? If we don't need that server anymore, wherever the server sits, what can we do with that space at that time?
Well, I mean, it's not, I mean, so the rest of the internet that the buildings require, that has, that you still, is still in there. The server is only this much of the rack. Yeah, the majority of the rest of it is providing network connectivity, so.
And so this would prevent, or I'm asking, this would prevent if we have a blackout or anything like that, because we don't have a generator, we wouldn't have that problem with you having to sleep over here on a whole Thursday night, right? That would prevent all that, right?
In socks at 3 in the morning. I slept in the car in the back parking lot for a few hours, but I had to make sure that we did what we needed to do to get it back up. So yeah, so this means that the data is hosted in a redundant data center. That means that if that data center went down, there's a backup data center and there's another backup. So those wouldn't be issues that we would regularly be faced with.
So how often will we pay for this upgrade?
The upgrade's one time, and then you pay your annual maintenance costs. We had a power outage today at Highland Park, so we get them all the time.
Okay.
Any more questions?
This one interrupt the flow and access for people like Ms. Eleanor, the treasurer, and them, and the water department. Everybody will still be able to have the access they need to do.
Yes, it actually improves it.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually improves it.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
So did I hear a motion?
Oh, yes.
I mean, a second. And a person call.
Councilmember Ashafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes. 6B, resolution to approve rapid response contract to provide ambulance transportation service. So Get a motion.
I want to make a motion for the resolution to approve the rapid response contract to provide ambulance transportation service.
Second with questions.
Question.
Okay, so,
Do we have?
yeah, is there anybody here to speak to this contract?
Introduce yourself.
Good evening, council. Jason Hausmer, Vice President, Rapid Response EMS.
Okay, so my question is, where will you be housed in the city and how many ambulances are we looking at?
So we will continue to be housed at the fire station.
Okay.
That's where we've been for a number of years. We co-occupy with Chief Hollowell and his staff. We occupy one of the bays farthest to the left. And we provide one ambulance, ALS, 24 hours a day at that station with backup ambulances that traverse the county throughout the day.
Okay.
When you say county, the whole Wayne County?
Yes, yes, correct. We also pay for some of the maintenance at the fire station for when there's the bay door issues, even though that's not necessarily in our contract with the city, but since we use that bay door, we use the motor, we use the remotes, we feel we're obligated to assist with having those types of repairs done.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Sure.
For acknowledging that. You are responsible. I like that. Any more questions?
Yeah, so how many years is this gonna be? You said it's gonna be annually. How many years is this contract?
This particular contract is 2 years. The existing contract was 2 years as well. That's the one that ends in about 2 weeks.
So it's 640,000 in 2 years.
Yes, sir. That's a reduction from the 2022 cost, which was a little over $387,000 a year. In 2023, Mr. Burgess came to us and asked for a reduction of approximately $50,000. Given our longstanding relationship with the city, we certainly accepted that, and we mirrored that same amount for this next contract period.
I just have a question, and it's not towards you, it's towards our city attorney. And is that Ann Gabbett that signed this resolution?
Yes,
And she is,
she works in our office. She's one of our team members in the municipal group.
any more questions?
It's a 90-day advance notice. So according to this contract here, it says termination without cause. It says after the first 12 months of this contract, either party may terminate this contract without cause by giving the other party at least a 90-day advance notice of such termination by delivering in person a certified mail return receipt request. The termination shall be effective on the first day of the month following the end of the 90-day period. It's a lot of money for one ambulance.
Most of the cost that's associated with the subsidy amount, the majority of the cost is due to wages and benefits. Some expenses have leveled out now that we're over the pandemic. Many things had skyrocketed during that, which was why there was a $387,000 cost in 2022. But now things have leveled out. But the major increase, without a doubt, is our wages and our benefits. The payer mix has remained approximately the same. There's a small percentage of no pay / patient pay, but we see that system wide, whether it's in the city of Highland Park or the other communities that we service. But the subsidy is what offsets the actual and the projected shortfall in our expenses.
And some of those runs could be dangerous, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to me, 6, confidentiality agreement?
I believe that's in terms of medical information.
Okay.
Yes.
It would medical information. It says here, I'm reading it. It says the parties agree to keep the contract and all of the terms of this contract confidential. Neither party shall disclose this contract or any of the terms of this contract to any persons in any form or manner without the other party's written consent, except as required by state or federal law or as expressly permitted by this contract. That doesn't sound like medical.
Yeah, so the except by permitted by law would be FOIA, so that the document would be subject to FOIA. So that's what that term means. So the document is basically accessible to the public through a Freedom of Information Act request.
We interpret that clause as also allowing us to share certain or some medical information, for example, with the police department in the event of a homicide, for example, and they need to see the patient care report from our EMS folks. Aside from a business associate agreement, that language helps us share that information with the city when needed.
Okay, so question. Let's do a hypothetical here. Say after 12 months, according to this contract, you decide that it's not working. And you decide to give the city 90 days notice. What is the out clause? Are we required under this contract to pay you out in full if you terminate the contract? Or if we decide to end the contract early? Is there something like that in this?
Yes, sir. Yes. So if either party decides to terminate the contract without cause after the first year, then the vendor would be obligated to serve through that full 90-day period. Actually, it's the first day in the month following, and the city will be obligated to pay that amount. So those are standard clauses that we include in most of the vendor contracts, so that if there's an issue with service, now of course we have not had any issues with Rapid, but it's a standard clause in our contracts in the event that there's an issue with service or performance that we don't want to be bound by something for the entire term if we feel that it's necessary for us to get out of it sooner.
Okay, so we would just end up paying for that 90 days.
Correct.
It wouldn't be like if we ended the contract ourselves instead of ending. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I know under some contracts in this city, we would be obligated to pay out the rest of their contract if we terminated it early.
No, we would be obligated to pay through the date of termination.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay, all right.
Any more questions?
I'm good, Madam Pro Tem.
Councilwoman? No, I don't have a question. Thank you. Mark?
No.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Shafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes. Item number 7, City Clerk. Application for vending license from Ronnie LLC, Italian Ice only is here in Boston.
And rock some, did you say rock some?
Can I get a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Vending license from Ronnie LLC Italian.
Support with questions.
Right here. Are you online?
I support with questions.
I
wish I would have brought some too. Rose, please.
Yeah.
My questions are really for legal. We have worked out all the bugs on our vending permits. Is that correct, Mr. Clark?
I'm not certain of that, sir. I was not presented with this item for review.
Okay.
So.
So then I'm sorry. I'm curious as to how did it get on the agenda? If legal didn't review it.
I'm not.
Great question.
Yeah, I don't believe that I know that I personally didn't. I don't know if the resolution was presented to one of my partners. I'm just not certain.
Because I remember, you know,
It isn't a resolution, it's an app.
application, all the bugs worked out for these applications.
Yes,
Everything is smooth.
yes.
Okay, then I can vote for it. All right. All right, yeah, I think that's just the question I asked, because I remember, the previous council, they fought very viciously over these vendor permits. So yeah, that's why I asked the question, has everything been worked out? Okay.
Yeah, so now he gives me two questions. One, do you remember, Mr. Shafi, what was those things about the vendor license?
They were having an issue with where they were going to be and if they were going to allow it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that different? I believe it may be. Is that different than a food truck? I think you were talking more like, or not we were, but they were talking about more about food trucks.
Oh, yeah, the food truck was the main.
I'm not certain, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, the food truck was the main heated argument in this thing.
Since we've been council?
No, under the previous administration. Yeah, it was about where they were going to be and if they were going to allow it, and the food truck was a hot topic, boy, real hot.
So it says here designated areas approved by the city. What are the designated areas?
It's him.
Manchester, Woodward.
So I was on my second thing, so maybe you should just give it to us and then that'll answer some other questions. Tell us about, what's your last name?
Sweezer.
Sweezer. Tell us, Mr. Sweezer, about the Italian ice.
The Italian
What
ice,
you wanna do?
it has 25 flavors. It's Italian ice cart. I have containers that will be in the cart, and I set up a little area and just sell, Italian ice, scoop it out, put it in, trays or cups or whatever, and sell it like that.
Got multiple flavors?
Multiple flavors, but 4 at a time, because the cart only holds 4.
You say you got cups?
Yeah, you got cups,
Like
what?
snow cone cups?
No, well, you got helmets, you got little cup that you can serve in, like little baseball helmets and little cups that you can serve it in. Like I got $2 servings, you get 2 scoops, $3 servings, 3 scoops, and $5 scoops,
And you are licensed by city, sir?
Yes.
You have.
Yes, I gave it to the clerk.
Okay, we have this paperwork.
We have the rest of the paperwork on file.
Okay.
So my next question is, so now I'm thinking about sanitation purposes. What are you gonna do to, because I know with ice cream, you gotta have running water.
Yes, we have water, we'll have a bucket of water, for, to clean the purpose, but you gotta have multiple serving spoons, so that ain't gonna be no problem. I got, what you call that stuff, wash your hands with, hand sanitizers, napkins and all that. But as far as serving, I can always change spoons, I'm gonna have multiple spoons to serve, and then you have gloves always and mask, yeah.
Okay. How long does our vendor license go? Is that for a year or is that, how long is that?
I don't know. I'm sorry, again, I wasn't presented with this item for review.
I think she said it was a year.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be, I don't know if it's to clerk or to Carl.
The vending license period for this particular application is May 1st through April 30th.
So it doesn't have to go to legal when it's a cart? Not a cart?
According to the charter, the clerk has the authority to approve all business license. This had to come to council because of the.
Okay.
And legal only approved to form resolutions.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I hope this works out.
Me too.
I happen to be a safe serve. I give the text.
Oh, yeah, the lady who gave me the test was very nice. I passed with 87.
You'll be inspected by the Wayne County Health
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ashaki?
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Manica?
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
At 9:04 today, sir, you become our first vendor in the city of Highland Park.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
We're gonna need it.
Our first vendor.
Item number 8. Item number 8, community development. A, resolution to sell a vacant residential side lot at 157 Pilgrim to the adjacent property owners at 159 Pilgrim. Mr. DeAndre O'Neill. Can I get a motion?
Point of privilege, or I have a question. I know you want a motion. I don't want it to die here, so, I like to, because I feel like evidently everybody has some question.
And then you get that.
Yeah, but we gotta make a motion first, if we don't have questions.
Right.
Ain't have questions.
157, 159. I move to approve sale of the sideline at
157. 159. Can I get a second?
So, I resent, oh, you second it? Are you seconding it?
Yes.
Okay. So, I think there needs to be a correction on it. And maybe I'm wrong, I'm not sure. I think it needs to be rewritten and brought back to the floor, only because it says Elmhurst on here. And we're talking about Pilgrim.
But Elmhurst is you're looking at the wrong one.
You're looking at the wrong one. You gotta look at A.
That's right.
It says, whereas the goal of the city, whereas the park is the owner of the vacant residential lot at 304 Elmhurst Street. DeAndre O'Neill, resident and owner of the house adjoining the vacant side lot at 159 Pilgrim.
So actually, they give you some more, right? That's it. Mr.
On
Carlton,
the agenda.
that's your mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, on the agenda, we should be talking about Pilgrim. Because that's what's on the
First two
agenda.
pages for A and B are the exact same.
Well, just that one sentence.
Yeah. So that's why I said just bring it back. Because no one seconded, you seconded it.
It would just be a vote to table, then that would automatically be,
All three
All three of them actually say the same thing.
Did all three of them say the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess they all gonna have to move up that.
Except for the one that actually, we are actually talking about Elmhurst.
Right.
Yeah, we could do that.
Well, we have a motion and a second.
For which one?
For the Pilgrim,
It's for the Pilgrim.
which is item 858. How does council want to proceed?
Well, it's on you whether or not you're gonna call for the vote or
We call the roll.
or you rescind your second.
Let's the amendment.
Gonna remove the third whereas.
We can,
We just need to change.
we
the
just need
address.
to change the actual address. And with that being said, Madam Clerk, can we call the roll?
159 Pilgrim.
157.
Hold on, we amended.
157 Pilgrim.
157 Pilgrim to the property owner at 159.
Excuse me. So Carlton, could you tell us what it should be so they can have it right?
157
On the third, we're at.
correct? On the third, we're at.
Moved by whom? Martin, supported by.
Moved by
Manica.
Manica, supported by. Are we ready to call for
Yes,
the roll?
we are.
Can we call for the roll? Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Shockey,
No.
Councilmember Martin,
No.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Does that mean item passes? I didn't think so.
No, it doesn't.
Revote, yeah.
It's a tie.
Yeah, it does not pass.
So that means it failed.
Yeah.
Item B, resolution to sell vacant residential sideline at 304 Elmhurst to adjacent property owner at 300 Elmhurst, Detroit 80 LLC. Can I get a motion?
I move to table this item until next meeting.
Can I get a second?
I need an explanation. I'm asking to table it because I don't want it to fail for uncalled reason. Maybe it's something that you can point out to CED to bring it, when they bring it back.
I have no support for the dice. Item number C, resolution to sell 3 vacant residential lots, 42-1, 42-2, and 44 Bedford. The DMC Property Management LLC. Can I get a motion?
I would like a motion to table resolution to sell the vacant residential lots into 1, 2, 44 Bedford to DMC Property Management LLC.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Shockey,
Yes, to table.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
No.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
No.
Dead.
Resolution failed. Item number E was removed, so we're going to item F, resolution for the submission of the local.
We didn't do the zoning.
B.
Zoning ordinance.
Oh, my. Okay.
So
Resolution recommended revision for chapter 1210-02 regarding planning commission membership.
Madam Chair, if we could also table this item as well. This is the amendment to a zoning ordinance, which means that it will require 2 readings. And I did look at the resolution. I don't think that's clear enough. And so I would prefer this to come back so that the resolution can indicate that it would be the first reading of the amendment to the ordinance. And then at the next, and then 2 meetings from there, the council would, if approved, then council would then approve it for final form. So again, I would ask that this matter be tabled until the next meeting.
Council Pro Tem?
Can I get a motion?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
so also there's also another problem. You know, this was a tabled item from the last meeting. So according to Robert Rules of Order, it should have been listed under tabled item on this agenda. And it should have been brought back from the table. And if we needed to table it again, it should be tabled. If we don't bring it back from the table that we tabled at the last meeting, it dies here.
No, it was discussed in the workshop.
Was it discussed in the workshop?
Yes.
So Councilmember Shaw, you asked for.
Are you sure?
You asked for it to be removed.
I must be getting old then, huh?
No.
You asked for it to be moved to a workshop.
Okay.
The last workshop.
That's right. I did have it moved to a workshop. You're right. Okay. All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for that. All right.
Can I get a motion to table?
I moved the table.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Take your pick.
Medical.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
It's gonna be tabled to the next.
Councilmember Shabby,
Yes, yes, to table.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council President Robinson.
May 6th.
Okay, moving on to item F. Resolution for submission to local government emergency energy program.
Okay, so I got two of them here.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. I got two of them here. One is thicker than all outdoors.
It's the
And
aphrodisiac.
then,
No, that was removed.
oh, okay. Aphrodisiac was removed.
So the resolution that I gave you in the beginning to have. Right through.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about this, Mr. Clyburn? Hold a second. You need a motion first?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Spoke a little bit too soon. Yeah.
I move to approve the resolution for submittal of the local government energy program.
Second with questions.
Oh, she gotta finish.
Oh, okay, I thought she was done. I'm sorry.
Community sparking
Okay, please
investment in
forgive me.
transformative energy. Seaside, application to the U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, by the City of Highland Park Community and Economic Development, CED Department.
Right. You say yes.
I second. I second with questions. Okay, so if you can give us a little overview.
All right, good evening, residents, council. So if you remember some years back, we won a Community Leaps grant, which gave us technical support to help do studies and put together a lot of numbers and information on helping move the city forward, sustainably through the Department of Energy. So this is like the second part. So now we're getting calls from different agencies that want to help Highland Park move forward. And this is a grant that we were called to apply for. The due date is the 31st. And just know that anything that we bring before you to put in, we still got to come back. And the slides that I presented just shows you some of the things that the city identified that would be in need that we can cover under this grant.
Okay.
So,
all right, I see they're talking about
facility upgrades.
solar panels, street lights.
Yeah.
Well, who is that I remember? Who is that had a problem with the those lights?
The entire previous council.
Okay.
We don't have a problem with it. It wasn't presented.
Okay, is there, so if we get this grant, is there like a support for the maintaining of what they're gonna put in here? Or are we just on our own with it?
We'll build all that in.
Okay.
As we put it in, we want to get it in, and then we can kind of work backwards to make sure that maintenance and everything that goes into the grant is covered.
Mr. Clyburn, why would
Because it was at the end of the workshop, I just gave it to you, and it was because of the due date. We got a call at the top of the month going into this, and we only had one workshop that I was able to get on. And, we had the library folks on there and some other information to where I couldn't get in front of you on the workshop. Pardon me? Again, we will be coming back. This is just to allow us to put in for this up to $3.6 million.
And what's the deadline?
The 31st.
This is the revision.
Yeah.
Revised.
So
I'm good, yes, sir.
Any questions, anybody? So we have a motion and we have a second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Manica,
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Robertson.
Yes. That concludes all of the council business. We have citizen participation. A citizen may speak.
I'll take my 2 minutes right now and get it over with. Thank you very much. I'll take my 2 minutes now and get it over with.
Oh, he wants to.
I'm a citizen. I'd like to speak. Yep, I'm a citizen. I'd like to speak.
As soon as all done.
I thought he was telling me.
Mr. Lackey, did he raise his hand? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Can everybody see the screen? I'm glad. It's hard to advocate for the city and say how much potential that they have to show a room full of people one of our meetings asking for support. On the screen right now, you have the latest U.S. Census Bureau quick facts on the city of Highland Park. The median income for our city is $30,341, and this represents the entire household. For a city that is 2.9 square miles, the birthplace of automation, the very first super suburb, the first paved road in the United States, to have a population in 1930 of 52,000 people, and over 82% of the population is gone. Sixth most dangerous city in Michigan, third worst city in Michigan, second poorest city in Michigan. Imagine what it's like to walk into a room and to say, I represent these people and I'm asking for support and assistance. Just sit down with me and watch a city council meeting. Imagine what that's like. And then you'll be sitting in my shoes. Have a great night.
So I'm gonna try to speak loudly, because I don't like to put my back to everyone. Right, that need to be moved. Oh.
Can you not kill the air, please?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to say about depreciation. So since November, I have done a lot of research about fund counting and different kinds of counting. I have asked multiple organizations about how depreciation should be handled in our budget. And it turns out that depreciation really does not have a place in our budget. Now, just imagine, has anybody ever seen my old truck that I drive around? Okay. I bought it used a few years ago for $13,000, and over the course of 5 years, it's now worth about $2,000, right? Now, I paid $13,000 for that truck 5 years ago. So last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, I didn't have to put any of my income toward that truck. I already paid for it. So when we buy what have you, infrastructure and water department, we can pay a loan on it, and or we can pay cash for it, or we can finance it somehow. But the depreciation doesn't come off of the budget, doesn't offset the current revenue. What depreciation is, it belongs on the balance sheet, the assets and liability and equity. And so when you depreciate something, it's not about how, it's not about budget, which is how much money are we gonna raise this year and how much money are we gonna spend this year. That's all the budget is about. But the asset sheet of the that's where depreciation goes. Yeah, it's an expense, but what we call the budget is an expenditure. An expenditure is when you're actually spending money.
So I want to ask Damon one more time, because his depreciation offsets revenue. What does it get spent on?
Ms. Larson, so have you read this in your research? This is principles of water rates and fees.
Okay.
This is what we base on. Okay? So right here, it says depreciation expense, okay?
Can you guys talk after the meeting? Thank you.
I need her to hear this one part, and then I'm
Okay.
out. Annual cost is total asset value minus net salvage value over the estimated term. So that is how.
Yes, and that goes on the balance sheet. It does not go on the budget. It doesn't go on, it does not
Do
offset.
we have anyone of privilege here? Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Citizen participation.
I just want to, my name is Jamil Edwards. I live on Grand, and I just want to bring to this honorable board, the DTE is tearing up our properties in front of our homes. Right. I do not want black tar in front of my home, and you took concrete. Right. And they have black tar throughout the city. If we were in any other city, it would not be tolerated. Can we please stand up and get concrete? Right. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want you to know that. So, listen to me now, please. It's temporary cold factor. It looks like garbage. I see it. Put that down so we don't have trip hazards. So they got to get it as level as possible, because if they just take the concrete out and they're not ready for the concrete, then the city's going to be liable for lawsuits. So this is the temporary patch. All that patch will be removed, and they got plenty of concrete all over the place. So it's temporary.
I understand temporary, but if we were in any other city, it would look cleaner than what the slop job that has been throughout the city. I go through a whole lot of cities. Go and look at the curbs. They're not level where if you're handicapped, you can ride up. It's not a curb, so to replace a curb, it's thrown down because they don't think the people in this city care enough about this city. I do, and I'm standing up. Can we please make sure that they stop slapping this black tar? And I understand it's temporary, but make it look neat. And I'll give you an example. I get my nails done every 2 weeks out of a month. And when you put my acrylic on and it's lumpy, I tell you to take it off, smooth it out. That's all I'm asking. Make it look better.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more citizens?
Greetings. My name is Mark Ashley Price. I'm on the school board. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hello.
First off, I wanted to say thank you to Councilwoman Pro Tem Robertson for being a good chairperson this evening. I just wanted to say that because you mentioned early on that was last minute, and it takes, I know that council meetings be heated, and I know the school board meetings be heated too sometimes. So I know that from experience. So I'm saying that you guys did a good job this evening. I want to be positive because HP gets negative energy or negative press sometimes, and me being positive, saying something positive about HP, I think that city needs that. And so I guess my point is the council pro tem that also job being the acting chair this evening. And I just want to say I love you, HP. That's all. Thank you.
Good evening again. I'm here because I drive around Highland Park all the time, and I want to know about the marijuana, these buildings that's closed up, taking money out of Highland Park every day and making Highland Park look bad. These buildings, these grocery stores, these abandoned buildings everywhere. And what does Highland Park get for it? Is there a law what they're doing? Nobody, I hear so many different answers. So that's why I come to the mic. Is there an ordinance or something? Because it's been going on for a long time.
Do we have anybody to address that? Police chief, police person, Madam Clerk.
The people that's in those buildings are governed by the state of Michigan. They are Caregivers, they have a license through Michigan to operate in their property. The answer to your question is, do we get any funds from it? No, they pay to the state of Michigan. And until the laws have changed and we get an ordinance in place, they are allowed to operate as a caregiver. Now, if they exceed what is called the caregiver law, the amount of marijuana that they can grow. As you've seen, the state has come in and shut down a couple of those people because they have been doing stuff that was illegal. The state monitors those. Yeah, if you have any concerns about what you see going on, and we have called them, and they will respond because they are the ones that have to shut them down.
Okay, before I came to the mic.
Unless they have a fire hazard or anything like that, that we can go in legally and not go in illegally, and shut them down with.
Okay, I read the state law for this, 12.
They can do 12 plants per, it's 12 plants per individual, their patients. So that's 72.
So you're saying a grocery store, these big DOH, that's the hospital, and we all know where, but it hurts me that these places are huge, that they're growing, and Highland Park isn't getting anything for it. And I don't even know if there's any laws in Highland Park that where we can get something for it. So she says
no, there's not. We do not have an ordinance.
Can we have an ordinance, council?
Sure, we can have an ordinance. It's up to the council.
I heard. We heard you. We have to get to ordinance though.
Okay, so it's a question. Can a workshop or ordinance be to help this community have buildings or, because these buildings are.
Ask your council president that because he's privy to have a workshop.
Oh, so that's why there's not an ordinance.
No, that's not.
No, that's not why it's not an ordinance.
Okay.
When? The council's gonna talk about, because this has been going on for years now. And it bothers me that all this money leaves Highland Park. It leaves Highland Park. They're not spending it here.
So Ms. White, you're not asking for them to be removed, but you're asking if you want the city to be able to get something from that revenue that they got coming in.
For every business that's here, absolutely.
So you're not, so I think they're asking you now, you're not just talking about marijuana, correct?
I'm talking about the incomes that they're making, probably millions, all these marijuana places and the water bills and what have you, but they're here. They would be in nowhere else but Highland Park. Why are we allowing this and not getting nothing for it?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White.
My hand is up, Madam Pro Tem.
Just speaking, Mayor.
Okay, I have two things. One, there was a question about why our finance person wasn't there. Miss Eleanor is sitting in the room. She's been sitting in the room. Secondly, Mr. Carl has had an emergency, so he could not show up, but he was intended, and that's why Miss Eleanor was sitting there, so the questions could have been asked to her. Secondly, as far as the information for, what was it about? I think it was another question. I lost it. Sorry, I'll let that go. But before it's over, I'll raise my hand again, if possible. But just so everybody know, the finance director is in the room. She's been sitting in the room the whole time.
Wow.
Yes.
Anyway,
I did.
Water under the bridge. I see the top of somebody's head. I didn't know who it was. I'm sorry, Mr. Green. I'm Mr. McGee. I always saw you going green.
Hey, people do that all the time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Didn't nobody say nothing.
No one did.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't think she was here.
Okay, Mr. McGee.
Yes, good evening, council. Good evening to the citizens of Highland Park also. I was looking at it under community development, and And I see DMC Property Management LLC was trying to buy 3 lots. A lot of times what you do when you judge someone, you judge their future by what they're doing now. They're not clean, they don't keep the property clean where they are now. I know, but I'm just saying, I mean, when you guys are considering things, look at what they're done already. I mean, they can promise you the world, but they can't deliver because they have not taken care of that property up there. I had to call Channel 4, CBS, and everybody to get them to get an extra dumpster. They had 4 high volume businesses up there and they had them sharing one dumpster. One dumpster. You think about what they're doing. They don't care. They don't care about our community. So as bad as we need development, we don't need people like them. So just keep that in mind when we're considering. Don't be so desperate for growth that we fall for the banana in the tailpipe. We cannot do that because we won't prosper that way. We'll be going backwards. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello, Tammy Stafford, resident of Highland Park. My question is for Mr. Garrett. Is he still here? No?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Garrett. Hi, Mr. Garrett. How are you this afternoon? My question is, I remember when the water department used to be in this building, and I would like to know why is money being spent for the water department to be in another location?
He didn't make that decision. That decision was made back when the water bills didn't go out. The city went under receivership, state stepped in and accused people in City Hall of wrongdoing and everything else.
So will the water department come back to this location?
We really don't have the capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, President Pro Tem. I do have my question if possible.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Shafi also asked about the salaries of falls under the budget for the administration. There is 5 people under that salary. My salary is $66,000. It is governed by the commission. There's been no raise. There's been not a raise on anybody's that's governed under the commission in the last 10 years. So that is the salary. I have an administrative assistant, and yes, I worked it out. I have an administrative assistant and I have an executive administrator, and they share one salary because one is part-time. Both of them are part-time. Also falls under that salary is Miss Bernadette, her salary, and I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 4 people out of that salary. So that's where those 4 people come from.
Do we have any more citizen participation?
Good evening, Honorable Council. Yeah, my name is Mike Chaudhary. I am the President and CEO of DMC Group. DMC Group. So DMC Consultants Inc. has done a lot of business with Highland Park in the past. We are based in Detroit, and one of our properties, DMC Property Management, has purchased the commercial property where the gentleman just spoke about the property. We acquired the property a year and a half ago. When we were acquiring the property, it was on Channel 4. We still went forward, acquired the property, and we are investing money in that property, trying to buy lots behind it just to get the banquet hall up and running. We had a tenant at the banquet hall, and the issue was we didn't have sufficient parking. We've spent already $100,000 for good quality air, which was required by Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, because the air was not clean, and we got an approval from Michigan Department MDEQ for good quality air, but we already spent $100,000 on that property after purchase. We are planning, we know there is a dumpster issue. A council member also addressed that, the people were taking the trash from the front. We are doing some concrete work on the back. We have also applied for the permit to put a fence so Little Caesars can take the trash from the back. And, the trash, we are also trying to put the fence around the parking lot. We had our own Christmas party in 2022 there, but there was a nightmare in parking. So in 2023, we could not have the party there because of lack of parking. It's an amazing place. Highland Park is coming up. And we have not only invested in Highland Park, but we've invested in Redford, in City of Detroit, several places, in Rochester Hills. So we do see potential here, and I am here in spite of the fact there were points raised for our group. I take the ownership of making sure that that property is clean. There are still issues, it's dirty, I agree that, but we power washed the entire property 6 months ago, and we are going to make sure that we have bins there, but we are doing all we can to make sure the property is clean. And if there is any questions and concerns, I have given my card to the gentleman. They can feel free to call our office, and we've always responded and sent people there. Once I have the fence there and then an additional parking lot, then it will be easy for us, because the banquet hall has got an approval for 499 people in the banquet hall. I got 2 properties behind my parking lot approved from Wayne County. They have sold it to us, and I'm looking for 3 more lots so I can clean up everything, fence it, and make it appropriate. So in future, if I go again for a banquet hall, we have parking there. I cannot get a tenant because there is not sufficient parking there. And I stand by here. I stood here. I know it was tabled, but I wanted to meet all council members and present myself. And if they have any questions, I'm free. Feel free, they can ask the questions to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Give a senior party at Cali's.
We want to bring it back in a big way, because it is 5,000 square feet and 2,200 square feet is vacant. So 7,200 square feet, we are trying to make it as a bar and banquet. But the issue is the parking lot. Yeah. So that's the reason I am here. We've invested money and will continue to invest money here in the city. And I'm going to make sure he's got my number. We'll work hard. If there is any questions, we'll send guys there to clean it up right away. Thank you so much. Sure.
Thank you. Do we have any more citizen participation?
Yes. Members, how are you guys doing today? That's good. But like I always say, it's always the best when God bless you, right?
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Steve.
Pardon me?
Steve. Yes. You said you already know. And I think, since y'all do know me well, I think we all are really in a close relationship with each other, considering the circumstance that we all know we're involved in. That's just some honesty to speak. How you doing, Ms. Ware?
Fine, thank you.
You're a very beautiful woman. It's nice to see you up close. I couldn't really see you because there was so much things going on every time I came in.
Go ahead and ask the question.
But with in regards to that, my name has been slandered. I am labeled a thief. I am labeled a murderer, for which then what people of certain communities and leaders have done. People have broken into my house, my spiritual mother's house, Mr. Spencer. People have stole affidavits and paperwork. And from my regards, since I'm labeled a thief, this has been labeled in my name. My spiritual mother, Mr. Spencer, had an administrator of all affairs. Her name was Miss Burrell. These ladies loved me unconditionally. And this is the kind of rapport that I had in this community for certain people who arrived. But when these people arose and they arrived, I didn't know my life was going to be in a demise, to be in everybody's hands, to be a victim for something that I was blessed with, and something that was taken away from me. My company, Edge to Edge, my business, what I stand for, I seen it taken by people of the community, leaders, using my name, cash cards going to people's pockets, paying everybody, and using that to target me and come to my job, which this young man sits down there every day. Don't know why. Don't know why. You know, but your mother, Miss Nanda, who broke in the house, had two people, crackheads, break into the house. I called the police. I say, who are you guys? Call the police. Oh, now he's sending us down here to change the locks. I said, why would she send you down here to change the lock on my house? She said it was her. I said, that's a lie. I spoke with Miss Nadia on several occasions. She said, well, I didn't know that was your house. I didn't know that. I said, Miss Nadia, you said people over in my house stealing bookcases. So when we talk about community leaders and we talk about people of means, I hold you accountable because you stand there and you're supposed to be a person of power, of leadership, and take care of responsibilities and take care of one another. I did my duty. I came and paved the way through every ghetto, neighborhoods, gunshots, drug houses, and I made the right decision. The cross you see on the Bible, that's a scale. I try to lean towards positivity all my life. I don't walk on the other side of negativity. I come in here and I see negativity. Nobody's saying nothing about why is he coming in here and what's wrong? What's the problem? Nobody called me. Nobody said, hey, let's talk to him. Let's sit down. What's the issue, young man? Nobody said nothing. So I come back. I'm fighting for my life, for my justice. My daddy told me, let me tell you something, son. Two things you do in this life you respect. Yourself and always respect your name. My name ain't been respected. My name been slandered. My name been all around people's mouths. He's a thief just to take over my life. You want to put me in a poverty state, stricken in mind because I'm blessed, because I came from the gutter and I fought past all felonies. I fought past all crimes and criminals. Then you people want to sit up here and do things to my house, break into my house. I don't know what's in my home. I don't know who planted things in my home. But see, the thing is about that, out of 6 years, I've been going through it. I've been holding it down. God said, you know what? I sent you down here for a reason. I said, what? It's y'all. It's y'all. Y'all ain't getting it together. And y'all act like y'all getting together, but you go right out the next day and do the same thing because your scale is kind of off a little bit. Hey, I get it. Sometimes you got to go through training in life and get back where you need to be. I did it. So I don't choose negativity. I don't care about money. I don't care about richness, but I'm blessed. And if my auntie, my mother real wrote something down and the trust that I'm supposed to have, it's been taken. It's not my business. It's not Hamilton Corridor, which fictitious came up, when it should have been Edge to Hedge and Steve Bunnell, the owner. But hey, you get what you get. Hey, who is this guy? I know y'all ain't mad at me. Y'all mad cousins me. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not from Highland Park, but I came down here and moved down here 10 years ago. So y'all relationship and blood ties, it lies deep. So you wouldn't let an outsider like me get anything that the elders blessed him with. It's the earthly inheritance. That's what it is. It's something that I should call my own. It's something to regards that I'm being framed to breaking in my people's house, my lineage, and then you go out and you backdoor it, come to y'all court, make false affidavits. By President Thomas, he admitted it when he had Shay Gibson here, the FBI. Everybody denied it. Brother Ashanti, we don't know nothing about no Hamilton Group. It's not a Hamilton Group, it's Hamilton Corridor LLC. Miss Square, 2020?
Don't put me in this.
Okay, I won't put you in the system.
Thank you.
Who signed the PDF sheet for the approval? I asked the Capitol, Hamilton Corridor, and the Means Group. I got some paperwork right here with F, and I got all the videos that y'all deleted. I got all the videos and the paperwork. Miss Square, can you come up here?
No.
So may I show everybody in here?
Your 2 minutes are up.
Okay.
Mr. Steve, I've been to your house 3 times and I've dropped off information and letters for you.
She talked to me, sir.
For you to contact you. And if you write my number down and call me this evening, we'll talk. But I have been to your house 3 times.
Right, you've been to my house.
Yes.
I want to talk to Miss Square personally.
No, God.
Not on this occasion, but sooner or later. See, that's the same thing. Hold on. President Thomas came down. I wanted to talk to Miss Square before. He said she don't want to talk to you. Why she don't want to talk to you?
Miss Square is not elected. You talk to elected.
I understand I'm Miss Square, but I'm talking with I'm talking with them regardless.
Mr. C, can you, because I don't want them to have to remove this.
I love all,
That's that you call me, please.
I love all y'all.
Yes.
And I hope that you understand that the
Yes.
scale is your body and your choice that you choose.
Yes.
Be positive.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Because your kids is watching, they need to be learning something, and they can't learn this.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any more citizen participation?
So Larson shouldn't take that seat. I said the right thing. Don't let it get
Okay, we're closing out the citizen participation. And we're gonna open up council affairs. Mr. 3, Mr. Shaw.
Okay,
2 days.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, HB. First of all, I want to say this Saturday was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed the parade. It was the first time I participated in it in a year. Been here 20 years, I never participated in it. And it was truly amazing. I want to thank Miss Martha Scott that came out with us. We gave out candy to the kids. I mean, it was just an amazing time. And I wanted to say to the school board and to the CDACs that at any time in the future, if we do this again, you are more than welcome to be on the floor with us. You are more than welcome. We would have loved to have had you. Okay, we had no idea that you wasn't going to get one. We thought you were going to get the little school bus thing. It was really nice. I saw it. But yeah, if you don't get one next year, you're more than welcome to be on it with us. We are happy to have you. Okay, and that includes all of the members of the CDACs. You're more than welcome to come. You know, I'm gonna save my usual fire and brimstone for later, because I need some answers on this budget. But I will say this to Miss Janet Spike White. It was spoke of about caregivers. So I got a really good understanding of the caregiver law from our state rep at the time, which is Mike McFall. Got a really good understanding from them, and also got a good understanding from our state senator. And they made it clear that caregiver licenses do not apply in commercial and industrial spaces. You cannot use your caregiver license to operate in a commercial or industrial space. Your caregiver's license is for the residents' protection in their homes, to grow in your homes a certain amount of plants. The reason that old boy got raided over there on Oakland, because he was using his caregiver license to grow hundreds to thousands of plants well beyond what he should have had. That's why he got raided. He was illegally operating. And that's my whole issue here. I'm not going to do a marijuana ordinance until these illegal operations are shut down. And to show you how illegal they were, they claimed they didn't know nothing about the guy on the corner across the street from 90s. But when they raided him and came in there and took everything, guess who showed up to turn off the water? HP, Metro Consulting, Wade Trim, whatever you want to call them, showed up to turn off the water. Now, my question is, were they paying that water bill? And if you showed up to turn off the water, that means you knew the water was running and you did nothing about it. And that's a concern of mine. Okay. Now, everybody in this city knows that in a commercial space, you cannot get water without a business license. So if they don't have a business license from the city, how are they operating? How are they getting water? It's simple. The answer is simple. They're stealing water. There's no way that they're importing this water. They're growing vast amounts of weed and marijuana. There's no way they're going to import this water. They have to get it from somewhere. We're paying for that. Okay, just like the church on Hamilton, they dug up the ground and tapped into the main line of the city. Now, they got paid because of how the city rated them, but the city didn't do anything wrong. They were stealing vast amounts of water from us, okay? It cost us over $100,000 to repair that water main that they dug up, but nobody says nothing about that. They actually dug up their basement and tapped into our water main to get water for their plants. And as long as they were operating, I can only imagine how much water they stole from us. See, this is my concern and my dilemma. You want us to give you an ordinance. You want us to do something with marijuana, and I'm telling you, I'm willing to do it the moment you shut down these illegal grow operations. Until that time, there's no way in Jahannam I'm going to work on that ordinance. Not doing it. Because we're paying the price for people's illegal operations here in this city. And everybody knows where they are. I mean, they're not hard to spot. A boarded up building or bricked up building with brand new Goodman condensers on the roof, right?
I don't want to pay for it.
Right across from the wreck. That building across the street from the wreck, there's growing marijuana there. They got 12 new condensers on the roof, but the building looks abandoned and boarded up and closed up as if they're not operating. They're operating right across the street from our children, right in our face. They spit right in our face and nobody seems to care. And everybody's making an excuse for them. Oh, they got caregivers licenses. Their caregivers licenses don't apply in commercial and industrial settings. Exactly. Okay, so the bottom line is we need to shut down these illegal grow operations. The moment we shut those down, I'm more than willing to sit back with you and write out a marijuana ordinance. But until that time, I'll be damned if I write one. As long as they're stealing from us, I'm not writing anything.
Don't make them steal from.
But what am I supposed to do? I'm a lonely councilman. The person who controls the police department and the administration doesn't want to do anything about it. So what am I supposed to do? I can't twist their arm and make her do something about it. I can't twist their arm. Everybody knows.
First of all, that's not true.
I'm talking, Madam Mayor. I am not talking. I did not ask
I get it.
input.
I get it.
Okay.
I'll hold that conversation.
All I'm simply saying is everybody knows where these illegal grow operations are. Everybody knows that they are operating illegally. And if they are operating legally, where's their business license to get the water in which they're getting to operate? Are they paying that water bill? Are we seeing that money? According to the pie chart from Mr. Garrett, this is one of our major losses in the city. For water. So all I'm simply saying is I'm more than willing to sit down and work on a marijuana ordinance the moment that we allow the state police to come in here and shut down every illegal grow operation in this city. Until that time, there will be no ordinance. You want an ordinance, then you put a gun to the back of my head and blow my damn brains out, because that's the only way you're gonna get it. And that's the reality of it. I don't care who feels how they feel or what they feel. I'm not writing one ordinance until these illegal operations are shut down and our water is stopped being stolen. Until that time, I stand where I stand. You want me off this seat? Put a gun to the back of my head and blow my brains out. Best of luck, Jay. And I yield back, Council Pro Tem.
Councilwoman Murray.
Wow.
Wow. Yes.
Wow. Wow. So, that being said, I'm gonna go hang that. I do want to say, I want to acknowledge Parker Pride for putting on an awesome parade. It seems to be get better and better each year.
Mm-hmm.
I am so honored that Martha G. Scott that was on there. I will say, ladies, you two were missed. Would have liked to see you on there.
On the floor?
Yes, both of you were invited.
I was at the T.
I know, and she was in training, I know. I'm just saying, I would love to, it would have been nice to have that unified look on the flow. So I definitely want to say that. I'm saying that I do want to read something real quick because it's been said, I think there's a little bit of confusion. I'm gonna go over it real quick, real brief about the CDAC. So I don't know, CDAC stands for Citizens District Advisory Council. And so, the way it's structured is CDAC exists to meet with the residents in their respective districts and discuss ideas that are pertinent to those neighborhoods. Ideas will be shared amongst the various CDAC with city officials to promote a more efficient and enjoyable city. Share that with you because I don't know if all of you saw the parade, but I know it was very nostalgic for most. A lot of them enjoyed it. The kids seem to have loved the parade, and I would love to see it get even bigger than it's ever been. With that being said, I know that city council gets to choose 2 people. The mayor gets to choose 2 people, and then the 2 people that are chosen, they get to choose 1, which altogether makes 5 people on the CDAC.
Per district?
Per precinct. So each district gets 2 precincts. So it's not per district, each district, so there's 3 districts. Each district has 2 precincts. And so it also says that all CDAC members must be a Highland Park resident. CDAC members will not be compensated for their services and the lack capacity of execute any official act of the city. CDAC members shall serve at the pleasure of appointing an authority. However, the members selected by the peers can be removed if a majority of the appointed members agree to do so. Now, also, the mayor and the city council shall meet with the district council at least once, at least twice a year to discuss issues that affect and concern the city council, concern the citizens living in the area. So it's like that and I share that with you guys because it's not set up where city council runs the CDAC. That's not how it is. We meet with, and we are required to meet twice a year. Now, if we do more than that, great. But I just wanted to leave you guys with that, and I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to.
All right, good evening. I'm going to try to make this quick. I have something. Can everybody hear me? Just us, but I'm giving just some little information this evening on the Michigan Affordable Healthy Homes proposal. It is Michiganders across the state are paying more, and we know there's more rent, buy homes, and live in their homes than ever. They're paying more for rent, buying them, and living in them. Utility bills climb, energy costs increasing. Our homes, schools, businesses contribute to greenhouse gases, emissions that add fuel to the fire of climate change. That climate change is included within your home, actually. Okay, poor indoor air quality. I noticed that the young man mentioned he worked on some indoor air quality for that building on the Little Caesars Plaza. Put health and our families at risk. Investment in housing will increase the share of affordable housing in Michigan and reduce the utility costs and make existing homes more comfortable. Eliminate those greenhouse gases that are inside your home. We're not talking about outside action. Michigan Affordable Healthy Home proposal is a comprehensive set of budget investments that will ensure all Michiganders have access to affordable housing options that are healthy, protect us from the elements of climate change. The proposal calls for an investment of $1 billion in whole home retrofit programs. Those type of programs are to invest in fixing your roofs, plumbing, toxins in your home, drafty windows, etc. It will enable just over about 5,000 low-income Michiganders to purchase solar for their property, which also creates investing in homes, economic development opportunities for Michigan business and workers. In this case, not only does it help the families in regards to decarbonization, it also can help in economics. It can bring retail, building sectors, training, construction workers, etc. Our senator and House, there are Senate bills 1238 and 1239 were introduced by Senator Stephanie Chang, and also the Republican House introduced the House Bill 6511 and 6512. Why do I mention these? Because these are programs that can help you individually, and for us to also make sure we become, the council also become part of, to bring to our city, to make sure that our homes are changing, are being improved. We're cutting down on emissions gas, and also you can get rebates for those changes in your home. Okay, so that's why I bring that to you today. Next week, the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, as well as the MECI, will hopefully to do a presentation, a little bit deeper dive into it, how it will help you, how you can also go on the website and look it up and then see some of those ways that you can do in your home, change things in your home, and also get benefits from it, rebates, tax credits, etc. Changing your, one quick example of a decarbonization is changing your furnace or changing your gas stove to an electric stove. Some people really don't understand the importance of that, so I hope not next week, but next council week, that you will get an opportunity to really understand what I'm trying to give you here today. Also, I have a couple of things here with us in regards to council. So first, I would like to invite council, and I know President Thomas is not here today, but I'd like to invite you to a training to be announced on, I didn't say council affairs, but how to run meetings, what should be happening in meetings, hearings. When we had our public hearing today, the things that should be happening, are we really answering the questions now? And how do we turn around and answer the questions of our citizens and not make our meetings long? Okay, so that's one of the things. So I also move that we have a workshop once a month or every other month. He can't answer right now. It would have to be determined by the water department on learning, on learning how to understand what's in the budget. So, and the reason for that, by motion, is so that we won't be here at a council meeting trying to figure it out in front of everybody, and we're here extra long, like we are now. If we're able to have a workshop every month or every other month on things in the budget that the council have questions about, to those individual departments or to that water department budget, and not confuse it with the general fund, then that might be a better way for us to really understand and also narrow down our council meetings and not look, well, we don't know, but we have to change our appearance. We heard school board members say earlier about being positive. So this is my agenda for being positive. So I don't know if anybody is seconding my motion here, or did you not understand my motion? But I could give it again next council meeting, but it's totally up to you. You have more? You have more? I gave a motion. I don't know if anybody's gonna second it or not.
What was the motion?
That's what I was asking. I move to have a workshop every other month on learning, and we can maybe change that time, on different things in the budget that we really need to understand. And that could even be other departments that we really need to understand. So we won't have to come in front of everybody asking those questions and knowing. We'll already know.
I'd be willing to vote yes for once a month.
Okay, once a month.
I second. I second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shafi.
Yes.
I asked for that for the resolution, email. So if by Miss Councilwoman Manica, bring it up today, we'll get it done. Madam Clerk, you can call for the vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So you can call for the vote.
Prior to that, it pertain to this, right? I just want to make sure I had what it is that you said.
I said,
Call.
I asked for a resolution.
For a resolution.
I put a resolution in, it was denied
Oh.
on several occasions.
Okay.
Asking for the same thing, but if it's going to get done today, let it get done.
I got you.
Call for the vote, please. Thank you.
Councilmember Ashafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Manica?
Yes,
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
thank you guys, thank you. Very last thing I want to say to us in regards to our council meetings, on our attitude and actions. I know sometimes we don't agree, but we have to do better on presenting that disagreement in front of people and how we respond. So just 8 simple rules: start on time, have an agenda. We know these things, no basic Robert rules. Come prepared, participate and vote. Look, act, and be professional. Eliminate personal remarks. Keep minutes that record action and decisions, and end on time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I don't know if I understood the actual reason, attorney, for why item 8 was removed. Can you explain it to me again?
8E,
Yes.
I believe, well, there was an email received from the director that the purchaser was not ready to proceed with the sale. That's what I was informed of.
I had some questions for Mr. Burgess and the clerk in regards to getting a copy of the bids, because that bid net is not up to date. Actually, nothing's up to date on our website. Where I can get the information for previous bids and who won the bids, and business licenses that the businesses in Highland Park have. I've been asking for a copy of that since last year. And along with
For a copy of business license or?
yes, I have emails if you want me to re-forward them.
We don't have, okay, we just get this businesses that have applied, you already compliance.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
So we don't have any businesses in Highland Park that have licenses?
No, I didn't say that.
No, that's what I'm asking, that's what I was asking for.
The list.
Yes.
Of the businesses that have a business license.
Yes.
And a list of businesses that have not applied.
Yes, ma'am. Can I get that list? Sure. Thank you so much. That concludes the council meeting at 10:12 p.m. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. All in favor, hey.
Aye.
It's a majority.